Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto was secretly trained by Kakashi and Jiraiya and told to keep his power until right time comes. Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Konoha Council Chambers. There was nothing but yelling behind the doors that held a meeting with the counselors of the village. It was mainly the civilians demanding for Tsunade to pay somehow for siding with one of the village's greatest enemies in history. We should execute some of the captured sand shinobi to show them our power over them. A civilian yelled. Are you stupid? If we kill them, that'll completely sever the bond we have with them. We should find a way to peacefully resolve this without having to have anyone die. Jiraiya said, pinching the bridge of his nose. Why should we go for peace? They attacked us and killed our own right here in our home. A civilian retorted. Lord Jiraiya is right. Shikaku started. If all we do is respond with violence, it'll only spur them to respond the same way, and we could start a fourth shinobi world war, and Kumo and IWA wouldn't hesitate to jump in with Suna, not to mention that Kiri is still having a civil war that they wouldn't help us. We'd be all alone against three great nations. Do you honestly want to fight a slaughter? This got all of the civilians to shut up and process what he said. When I was a sensei with Minato on my team, I told him how much I wanted to rid the world of all the evil and negativity there was. I passed on my dream to him to find a way, and he died believing in that dream. Hiruzen Sensei also believed this when he passed this ideology to me. There has to be a way to resolve this peacefully. Jiraiya said with complete seriousness, yet serenity in his voice. There has to be a way. Jiraiya said, closing his eyes and thinking. Suna Council Chambers. The Sand siblings were standing outside of the chambers of their village's council, and all they could hear was shouting and yelling about what to do. They couldn't make out what was being said, not that it really interested them. They just lost a man who was their father but kept them at arm's distance. All they had left was Baki, and seeing as he was serving as acting Kazekage, they were waiting for him to finish this meeting. Kankuro, Temari. Gaara started with his raspy voice, looking at the ground. The two older siblings looked at their baby brother in between them. I'm sorry, he said. Temari and Kankuro looked at each other. A soft smile graced both of their faces, knowing it was hard for Gaara to even say this. They knew he wanted to say more about what he was sorry for, but he didn't need to. It was conveyed through those simple words. Temari looked back at her brother smiling and softly said to him, It's okay, Gaara. We're just happy to finally have you back. The two gave him a short hug, not really sure how they should act considering they didn't grow up with love and affection being present at all times. Inside the chambers, the yelling finally stopped and the doors opened, and everyone was giving Temari a weird look as they left but didn't say anything. After all the counselors left, Baki was the only one in the room, and he didn't look too pleased with what transpired. Everything alright, sensei? Kankuro asked. No, Kankuro, things are going to change for our group, he said, looking at the scroll before him. What do you mean? Temari asked. Baki tossed the scroll to Temari, and she undid it and read the contents, and her eyes grew wide seeing what he meant. Are you kidding me? This can't be real. Tell me you're joking, sensei. Temari yelled in anger and confusion. I tried my best to keep you. I'm sorry, Temari. It's final. There's nothing I can do about it. What are you talking about? Kankuro asked. Our genius council has decided to marry me off to someone in Konoha as an act of peacemaking. She yelled, and Kankuro's eyes grew wide. Is that even possible, sensei? He asked. Yes, it's an old way of making alliances with villages. The offsprings will have dual citizenship, and the bride will be forced to move and live with her groom-to-be. And who am I supposed to be marrying? She asked. It's right there on the paper. One Naruto Uzumaki. The council was impressed by his performance in stopping Gaara, and they found out that he's the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox that killed their fourth Hokage 13 years ago. They think with you being the daughter of the fourth Kazekage and him being a Jinchuriki, you two will have powerful children that will represent the bond between our villages. Baki explained to Temari, whose eyes grew wide. Naruto Uzumaki, huh? He's nothing but a loudmouth brat, but I guess I could have gotten worse if the council would have scrapped through the bottom of the barrel into the dirt. She thought to herself. Go pack your things, Temari. You leave in 1 week if Konoha accepts, and I expect them to accept the terms. I'm sorry, Temari, he said as he gave her a hug. For Baki it was like losing his only daughter. I will, sensei, Temari said, hugging him back and doing her best to hold back tears. She immediately left for home and began preparing for her departure. Later that night, Konoha. Jiraiya was standing on top of the Hokage building when he saw a desert hawk fly up to him and land on the railing around the roof. Jiraiya cocked an eyebrow, not expecting any message from anyone, and certainly not from where he thinks it's from. Suna? He thought as he walked up to the bird and took the letter off its back and let the hawk hop on his shoulder. Jiraiya quickly read through the letter and saw that it was a proposal from Suna about keeping peace. The best part about it was there would be no killing, which is exactly what Jiraiya wanted to avoid, and it seems like Suna just offered them an opportunity to do just that. He kept reading to see that they were offering up their own fourth Kazekage's daughter to be wed to none other than his own godson Naruto Uzumaki. You've got to be shitting me, Jiraiya said, sighing out. The kid is not gonna be happy about this, but it seems like the only sure way to prevent a full war. I'm sorry, Naruto, Jiraiya whispered as he turned to look at the giant stone head of his former student that he treated like a son. Sorry he couldn't find love on his own Minato, he said before walking inside and dropping the hawk off to the messenger tower. Next morning, Jiraiya had called the council to meet once again early in the morning. Once all the clan heads were there along with the civilian reps. Why are we here so early, Master Jiraiya? Some asked, yawning. Because we have a way to resolve our issue with Suna, he said, getting everyone to wake up and listen in. Late last night a messenger hawk came up to me and it contained a letter from Suna. Suna is willing to offer up Temari Sabaka to be wedded to one of our own shinobi, Jiraiya said, getting the shinobi in the room to widen their eyes. But that method is ancient, no one practices that anymore. Choza said. I know, but at the same time it's the best way to resolve things without killing anyone, Jiraiya replied. So who's she marrying? Shikaka asked. Obviously the Uchiha, a civilian said. Tsum just rolled her eyes and nonchalantly responded to them. When are you gonna hop off that kid's micro-penis? It's always Uchiha this and Uchiha that with you civilians. Why are you guys even here? This doesn't concern you. The clan heads all had their eyes wide as Tsum finally said what was on all of their minds, and they were trying so hard not to bust a gut. How dare you talk to me like that? The civilian retorted. You know, Lady Inuzuka, you make a valid point, Jiraiya said with a sinister tone. From here on I officially disband the civilian council. Get out, Jiraiya said with all seriousness. But what about issues involving everyday issues? Then you can bring it up to the clan head that's closest to you, and they'll resolve it. It's a good thing our clans are spread out across the village. We'll split up jurisdiction, and if an issue happens you go to the clan head responsible for that area and they have authority to resolve it. Of course the Hokage will have to approve it, but that way we don't have to waste time hearing you bitch and moan about the most minuscule shit, Jiraiya said. But, bye, Jiraiya said, waving his hand with a fake smile. The civilians all got up and left, still in shock of what happened. Now back on topic. The Shinobi Suna's council has picked to marry Temari Sabaku is no other than my apprentice Naruto Uzumaki, Jiraiya said, and the clan heads all nodded, seeing that as a reasonable choice. Glad to know we can all see why they were impressed with him. He did splendid in the Chunin exams, much better than what most people thought. He beat one Niji Hyuga who everyone thought was going to wipe the floor with. Then he proceeded to take down Gaara, who unleashed the one-tailed beast by summoning the toad boss Gamabunta, and then used the transformation jutsu to change Gamabunta to the Kyuubi. Kid has talent. So if we're all in agreement, we'll send a letter back to Suna telling them we accept the terms of marriage between Temari Sabaku and Naruto Uzumaki, who will be wed here and live here in Konoha, Jiraiya said, and all the clan heads nodded in agreement. Well then we're done here, Jiraiya said as the clan heads got up, happy to not have to listen to the civilians bitch and complain for an extra few hours. It was nice to have quick meetings. Jiraiya left and headed out to Naruto to tell him the news after he quickly wrote up a response letter for Suna telling them Konoha was agreeing to the terms. Sorry to do this to you, kid, but we need to start getting some peace into this world, and it looks like it's gonna start with you, the white-haired sage thought to himself. Naruto woke up and got ready like he normally does, but something felt off to him. He quickly checked around the inside of his apartment and saw nothing out of the ordinary, but when he looked out to his balcony he saw Jiraiya looking across the village. Pervy sage? What are doing here so early? He asked. We've got some serious business to go over quickly, Naruto, he replied, and Naruto nodded before heading inside. They both took a seat and Naruto was hoping everything was alright and he wasn't in trouble. Kid, your life is about to change drastically. Jiraiya started getting a confused look from the blonde. Suna sent a message yesterday that got here late last night. They offered a peace treaty of sorts, but it was in a manner that hasn't been practiced in decades. The sage continued. What do you mean? Naruto asked. Long ago, when countries would stop fighting and make treaties, normally the losing side would offer up a beautiful woman to become the bride of a male from the winning country. Suna lost to us, so they're offering up one of their best, if not the best, kunoichi they have in Temari Sabaku. The name sounds familiar, Naruto said. Gaara's older sister, Jiraiya replied. Oh. Sandy blonde hair tied into 4 bun things, Naruto asked. Wields a giant fan? Yup, that'd be her, Jiraiya finished. So who's the unlucky bastard this village has offered? Naruto said, leaning back. Really, Naruto? You haven't put 2 and 2 together, Jiraiya deadpanned. It took only a second before realization dawned on Naruto. Are you fucking kidding me? Why me of all people? I mean, I don't even know her, let alone love her. How the fuck am I supposed to keep peace and marry her if I don't love her? Naruto yelled. I know, kid. Believe me, I'd rather you find love on your own, but this is the only viable option right now to ensure war doesn't break out for the whole world. I'm really sorry, Naruto, Jiraiya said, trying to console the blonde. Why me? He asked dejectedly. Suna was impressed with how you beat Gaara, and they think the offspring of your child and Temari's will create a strong shinobi who will show the bond between our villages. So I'm just supposed to throw away my feeling for Sakura so I can be thrown into this marriage that's being done against my will? Unfortunately, yes. This is part of the shinobi life. As ancient as this method is, it's a part of it. I'm sorry, kid, Jiraiya said, getting up and placing a comforting hand on his shoulder. This sucks, Naruto replied, sinking into his chair. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? The rest of the day Naruto tried to train, but he was too focused on this marriage he was being sentenced to that even Kakashi noticed he wasn't his normal. He wasn't hitting on Sakura. He was barely focusing on training, which was very unusual for the blonde who always spouts about being the future Hokage. Naruto, are you okay? Kakashi asked. Yeah, just processing some stuff Pervy Sage told me. He said. Well, whatever it is, if you don't feel up to training, why don't you go home? Same goes for you too, training is finished for the day. Kakashi said, and Sasuke immediately turned to leave and Sakura began chasing after him, but it felt different since a certain blonde wasn't trying to ask her out. Instead, he was heading to his own home. Naruto trudged his way home, not sure of what to make of his new upcoming situation, and it frustrated the hell out of him. Naruto eventually made it home to where he found Kakashi leaning against his door, not reading his pervy novel, which piqued Naruto's interest. No porn for you, Kaka-sensei? What's going on, Naruto? You haven't been yourself recently and it's obvious. Wanna talk about it over a bowl or ramen? Kakashi asked, knowing the blonde couldn't turn down ramen. Sure, ramen sounds pretty good right about now. Naruto said, cracking a small smile. Ichiraku ramen stand. As Naruto and the copy ninja were eating, Naruto began telling him what he recently found out from Jiraiya. Damn, sorry to hear that, Naruto. Well, I guess on the bright side this won't really be official until a new Hokage is appointed. Kakashi said, which is why we're going to find her. Jiraiya said, entering the stand. Master Jiraiya, good to see you again. Kakashi said, nodding his head. Same to you, Kakashi. The sage replied. What do you mean we're getting the next Hokage? Naruto asked. Well, you and I are going to go on a trip to bring back the next Hokage, and while traveling we're going to up your training. Jiraiya said, which got Naruto to really perk up. Really? You mean it, pervy sage? Naruto said, getting hyper again. Yup, pack your things, we leave in 1 hour. Jiraiya said, vanishing to probably get one last peek for his next novel. I gotta go, Kaka-sensei, see ya. Naruto said, taking off immediately. Later. Kakashi said with an eye smile before he looked and noticed that Naruto never paid for the food. Naruto! Get back here and pay for your 10 bowls. Kakashi yelled but sighed, knowing it was no use. Hee. Oh, Minato-sensei, if only you were here to see yours and Lady Kushina's son. He's so much like the both of you. Kakashi said as he finished his 3rd bowl and paid for Naruto as well before he began wandering around the village and managed to end up at the memorial stone. Seems like I always end up here. Kakashi thought with his hands in pocket. Suna. Inside the Suna council chambers they had received word that the Leaf had agreed to the terms set forth in the marriage proposal, but finalization would have to come from their Godame Hokage, which Jiraiya and Naruto were currently searching for. Well, seems like Temari is going to be leaving soon. Baki thought to himself. Baki headed out to find Temari, and saw that she was training with her siblings at their family training ground. Baki-sensei, what's up? Kankuro asked. Well, Kankuro, we just received word from the Leaf that they accepted the terms. Temari will be wedded to Naruto Uzumaki. Of course it won't be official until they've appointed a new Hokage, but by then we'll be in the village to meet with the new Hokage and iron out some finer details. I'm sorry, Temari, Baki said, looking at the young blonde trying to see her reaction. All she did was sigh and turn to finish packing things up. I'll be in my room if anyone needs me, Temari said, putting her fan on her back and leaving. Time skipped 3 days. Naruto and Jiraiya had finally made it to Tenzaku Town, and Naruto had progressed much faster at the Rasengan than Jiraiya expected, with Naruto blasting through stage 1 in 1 day, then he managed to get through stage 2 today. So what's next, pervy sage? Next is combing them and maintain it. You'll use a water balloon again, but the goal is to not burst it yet still have the rotation and power with it. The balloon is merely just a visualization for you to know what the Rasengan is supposed to look like, Jiraiya said as he formed one in his hand. Got it, Naruto said as he quickly took the bag of balloons and began working hard while Jiraiya slipped away into town to find any clues on his missing teammate. Plus it gave Naruto plenty of time to train and focus. Nightfall. By nightfall Naruto had slowly managed to figure it out. Even though he couldn't maintain it long enough, he was able to get it going for about 5 seconds before his concentration broke. I wonder, Naruto thought before crossing his fingers for his favorite jutsu. Shadow Clone Jutsu. He yelled and he looked at his copy before holding out his palm while his clone began shaping the chakra by moving his hands in different direction to create the shape of it. To the surprise of Naruto, he was finally able to make the Rasengan and maintain it thanks to his clone. Naruto then charged at a tree and put a spiral dent in it and left it scarred. Perfect. Now I gotta find Pervy Sage and tell him, Naruto said as he rushed into town and managed to find Jiraiya still searching for his teammate. Hey Pervy Sage, I got down the Rasengan, Naruto yelled out, and the women immediately glared in the direction of Jiraiya, who grabbed Naruto and sprinted away, avoiding the mob of angry women before he cut into a pub to try and hide out for a minute before continuing his search. You idiot, don't call me that out in the open, Jiraiya said, glaring at him. Come on, Jiraiya said, turning around and noticing huge breasts on a young blonde. Tsunade, Jiraiya yelled, pointing at her. Jiraiya, Tsunade replied, standing up after slamming her hands on the table. Come on, kid, Jiraiya said, pulling Naruto into the booth that Tsunade and Shizune were occupying. A pervy sage. There's no way this blonde is your teammate, she's too young looking. Are you sure you're not just trying to hook up in front of me again? Naruto said, squinting his eyes at him. Seems your apprentices get shorter, uglier and dumber looking, Jiraiya. Tsunade said, taking a sip of sake. The hell did you say to me? Naruto said, turning his attention to the busted blonde. You heard me, brat. She said, taking a swig straight from the bottle. Naruto clenched his fists to the point where his nails were cutting his palms open. Oops, did I offend you? Tsunade asked mockingly while smirking. Naruto, stand down. Jiraiya said firmly while looking at his teammate. You know about Sarutobi-sensei, right? You know that Orochimaru attempted to decimate the village with the hidden sand and he killed sensei. Jiraiya said, trying to get a reaction from Tsunade. Orochimaru told me the other day. He also made me an offer. He said something about healing his arms sensei sealed away in exchange for Nawaki and Dan coming back. Tsunade said calmly, not showing any sadness for the death of her sensei. You know that he won't do it. Even if he does, it's not like they'll actually be here. They're gone, Tsunade. I'm sorry, but they're gone as is gone as who? Minato, your failure of a student who couldn't even last over a year being Hokage. You know that's why you're here, isn't it? You want me to come back home to take over as Hokage? Well, you can forget it. Only a fool would take that stupid title to only throw their life away. Tsunade yelled before quieting down to a near murmur. Just shut up already. Naruto yelled, punching the table in half. I don't care what you think of anyone anymore, but don't you dare disrespect the Hokages and what they've done. Enough, Naruto. You don't even know Tsunade. She's practically royalty. Jiraiya yelled back. What? She's the granddaughter of the first, grandniece of the second, student of the third, and a very distant in-law of the fourth. She's somehow related to every Hokage in history. Jiraiya said. I don't give a shit if she is. She's still a Konoha native and should at least respect it. Naruto said. Tsunade got up and started walking out but spoke to the young blonde. You and me, outside, now. She said. Naruto got up knowing damn well what was about to happen. Shizen also got up and quickly healed Naruto's hands to erase the blood and cuts. Thank you, he said before walking out with Jiraiya in tow. All I'll need to beat you is one finger, so show me what you've got, brat. Tsunade said, not even getting in a stance, but Naruto got in a stance ready to throw down. A leaf was blowing in the wind and the second it touched the ground Naruto charged straight in, cocking back his arm for a punch, but Tsunade merely sidestepped and brought her left leg high up before bringing it straight down on his back, making him slam into the ground and creating a crater. In a dark place, rumbling, red slitted eyes opened up and a low grumbling was heard. What's that idiot doing now? Real world. Naruto coughed up blood in the crater and was slow to get up but managed to, and saw Tsunade smirking. You're pretty tough to handle that kick, but let's see just how much more your body can handle. I'll keep going and I won't quit, cause I'm gonna become the Hokage one day. I guarantee it. Naruto said with pure determination as he began to increase his chakra output to the point where a visible blue aura surrounded his body. He's got way too much chakra for a normal genin his age. What the hell is he, Jiraiya? Tsunade thought to herself as the young blonde made a shadow clone and it began moving its hands around his open palms like he was trying to form something. What the hell is he doing? The busted blonde thought before she started to see a blue ball of condensed chakra form in his palm. Are you crazy teaching him that, Jiraiya? She yelled out knowing damn well what it was. Hey! Your fight's with me. Naruto said, charging in with a Rasengan with greater speed since he's enhancing his body with chakra. Rasen Naruto started to yell out before Tsunade slammed one finger into the ground creating a divide and Naruto's foot got caught in it causing him to lose concentration and his footing as the Rasengan slammed into the ground but leaving a good-sized crater with swirling burn marks in the middle. You taught him an A-rank assassination jutsu. Are you stupid? Tsunade yelled at Jiraiya. He was ready for it. Besides, he's nearly perfected it in just under 1 week. Jiraiya said proudly. That doesn't matter. And besides, there's no way he'll learn to control it, he's got too much chakra to handle. Tsunade said. He'll get it. Jiraiya said, looking at Naruto who got up and was scuffed up a bit. Fine, hey brat, come here. Tsunade said to Naruto. What do you want? Is winning not enough for you? He said, not looking her in the eyes. Tsunade grabbed his chin lightly and made him look her in the eyes since they were both 5 feet 5 inches. Let's make a bet. I bet that you can't master the Rasengan in 1 week. If you do, I'll come back with you and become your Hokage. If not, you two leave me the hell alone and never search me out. Got it? Tsunade said as Naruto jerked his head away so she wasn't holding his chin. I'll do it in less than 1 week. Naruto said with fire in his eyes. Fine, you have 4 days then. Better get to work. Tsunade said, and you better get your measurements ready. Naruto snapped back but found Tsunade's fist slamming into the crown of his head. Don't ever ask for my measurements again, you pervert. She said. The hell, you asshole. I was talking about your measurements for the Hokage robes and crap that the old man had to wear. What were you thinking of? He said, nursing his head as Shizen helped heal him. Wait, you weren't talking about my breasts? She said, blushing lightly. Of course not. Why would you need to measure them? Everyone can see they're fucking huge. No need to measure them. Fuck, that hurt. Well, just remember the bet, idiot. Shizen, come on. Tsunade said as Shizen finished healing up Naruto and soon left with her master, but of course Jiraiya had to say something. If you won't give the kid your measurements, could I get them? Just like Naruto, Tsunade clocked the pervert in the head and beckoned Shizen to follow, saying he'd be fine. Idiot pervert. Naruto said, shut up, brat. Jiraiya snapped back, well, I guess I'd better start training again. Naruto said, getting up and walking off to find a good area to train in. After about a half hour of walking around the forest surrounding the town, Naruto found a nice clearing with plenty of trees to hit, alone with a nice little river flowing into a good-sized pond. Before Naruto started, he sat down on a boulder and stared up at the full moon. It's beautiful. He whispered to himself. Suna, it's beautiful. Temari said, looking up at the full moon shining its reflective light down upon the village, lighting it up. Guess this is gonna be the last time I see the moon this clearly for a long time, huh? Temari asked, to no one in particular, before sighing and pulling her knees closer to her chest and resting her face on them. Tanzaka Town. Tsunade was out getting another drink at a stand when Jiraiya also popped in to chat. Mind if I join? Jiraiya said, more than asked, as he sat down and was brought a bottle of sake and a small saucer. Why would you teach that idiot something so complex like the Rasengan? It's not like he'll master it. Tsunade said, I believe in the kid because of who his parents are. I mean, his father did create the damn thing, so I think Naruto has every right to learn it. So, he's the brat of your student, huh? Who's the mother? Tsunade asked. Your distant cousin and second Jinchuriki after your Mitoba-chan, Kushina. Jiraiya said, taking a sip, and sighed, looking to see that Tsunade's eyes widened but immediately returned to normal, so she didn't look too surprised. So he's the product of those two, huh? Still, either way, there's no way he'll master it. Tsunade said, he's just like them, you know, more like Nawaki in my humble opinion, but he's just like them. They wanted to become Hokage so badly, and Naruto does too. He truly believes he'll become Hokage, and then everyone will finally stop looking at him like he's the fox, and I believe him. You're putting too much into the brat, he's no prodigy. Tsunade retorted, maybe not, but neither was I, and look how I turned out, a pervert, since day one, but I mean that I'd become one of the strongest ninja our home has produced next to you and Orochimaru. I think we honestly made one of the strongest and most well-rounded teams in Konoha history. You shouldn't judge him too harshly, cause he tends to surprise you when you least expect it, so keep doubting him and he'll definitely become Hokage. Jiraiya said, taking another sip. For the next few minutes they sat in silence, just drinking and silently and secretly enjoying the familiar company. After a while Jiraiya broke the silence. Tsunade, that offer Orochimaru made you. As much as you say that you hate Konoha, I know you truly don't, but if you accept that offer, I'll kill you without batting an eyelash, understood? Good night, Haim. Jiraiya said, putting his finished alcohol down and leaving for a hotel. Over the next few days Naruto was training as hard as he could on mastering the Rasengan by having one clone form it, and another clone tried to create a distraction, forcing him to focus while he slams it into a tree. Over those days Tsunade was keeping tabs on him and began to realize that Jiraiya was right. He really did resemble Dan, and mostly Nawaki. It made her wonder if he really could be able to achieve his dream of becoming Hokage. Tsunade began thinking over what Jiraiya had said to about him actually killing her if she betrayed the village and helped Orochimaru. Would he actually do it? The old perv has been in love with me for years. Does he really have the balls to do it? She whispered to herself as she walked around Tanzaku. The 4 days finally passed, and back in Suna, Temari was forced to ride by carriage as per Suna tradition when marrying off one of their own in a marriage treaty. To say Temari was upset would be an understatement. She knew it was tradition, but she felt like her pride as a kunoichi was taking a hit by being forced to act like a princess when she damn well knew she wasn't a real princess. Nevertheless, she bit her tongue and stayed silent, but did enjoy the moments whenever Kankuro would poke his head in and see how she was doing. From what he was hearing, they were still 3 days out from Konoha, since the trip that would normally take a shinobi 3 days was taking twice as long due to the slow pace the carriage was set at. Back in Tanzaka Town we find Jiraiya asleep at a ramen stand and Naruto bedridden from training his ass off to perfect the Rasengan to no avail. Naruto couldn't maintain the chakra long enough to be able to focus even if a distraction happened, causing him to always lose it, but he worked himself to the bone and paid the price with chakra exhaustion. The shop owner tried waking up Jiraiya, but he was completely out of it thanks to Tsunade spiking his drink the other night when they went out again. Jiraiya trudged along after finally being woken up to realize that he can't mold much chakra and set out to find Tsunade's hotel room as best as he could. Meanwhile, in said hotel room, Naruto woke up to find Shizen knocked out, and woke her up, and the Mending began to freak out, wondering what day it was. After finding out, she was amazed that Naruto had recovered so quickly, but remembered that Naruto is the current Jinchuriki for the 9 tails according to Jiraiya. We need to leave Naruto, now. Lady Tsunade is leaving to make the deal with Orochimaru. We have to stop her from making the biggest mistake of her life. Right then, let's go. Naruto yelled as they were just about to leave. Through the window a kunai came flying right in front of Shizen's face and buried itself in the wall right next to her face. She looked to see who threw it, and saw Jiraiya looking like he'd seen better days. She pulled one over me. She spiked my drink last night, that witch, Jiraiya said, panting. Shizen ended up bringing him a pitcher of water to drink, and after having a few glasses and getting all the details straight, they knew what they had to do. I can't believe you're going to make me actually kill you, Tsunade. The white-haired sage thought. A/N. We all know how the rest of this goes, so I'm not gonna write out something we all know. In my opinion, this fight is one of the top 5 fights from pre-Shippuden Naruto, so I don't see a point in writing it out. Sorry if you wanted me to, but I just don't feel the need to. Time skip. Naruto, Jiraiya, Shizen, Tantan and Tsunade were making their way back to Konoha after finally defeating Orochimaru and his lackey Kabuto. And by making their way, I mean they were sprinting as fast as they could, since Jiraiya just happened to remember that they were on a strict deadline to try and beat out the group from Suna. Luckily for them, they made it to the village and were welcomed with positivity, seeing as how people were happy to see their future Hokage for the first time. Not to rush, but we need to get Naruto to be presentable. Jiraiya whispered to her. You're right. Tsunade replied as she waved to the people, who were very happy to see their next leader finally return home. The Sannin and Naruto with Shizen quickly stopped by the Hokage office so she could finish checking him for any injuries, and after assessing that he was perfectly fine, she nodded to Jiraiya, who pulled out a beautiful silk kimono that was all black with an orange yuzu swirl on the back being formed by 3 tails of the 9-tailed fox, while the other 6 tails were evenly divided fanning out behind the swirl. This thing looks so cool. I mean, I'd put more orange on it, but I actually like it. Thanks, pervy sage. Naruto said, hugging the toad sage, and the old man could only smile and return the hug as Tsunade watched on, smiling. They kinda are like father and son, maybe grandfather and grandson is more like it. Now come on, kid, we gotta get you to the front gates to meet your future wife, don't want to make a bad impression. Jiraiya said as Naruto quickly changed into the kimono. How do I look? Naruto said to Jiraiya and Tsunade. You look good, kid. Jiraiya said, grinning, like you're ready to get married. Tsunade replied with a friendly smirk. Out on the road. Hey sis, I can see the gates, we're almost there. Kankuro said to Temari, who began to try and calm herself and slow her breathing. Relax, you can do this, Temari, you're a natural warrior, you can handle anything. Konoha. Naruto was quickly rushed to the front gates by 2 of the Sannin and Shizen, which began drawing a crowd seeing Naruto in something other than his bright orange jumpsuit. Great, the whole village is coming out here. Can't they just go away? Naruto muttered. Relax, it'll be okay, Naruto. Jiraiya said, putting a hand on his shoulder. Less than 10 minutes later, the Suna caravan finally arrived to the gates. Greetings, and welcome to the village hidden in the leaves. I'm Tsunade Senju, the Godame Hokage, and it's an honor to welcome friends from the hidden sand to our home. Tsunade said very professionally, which took Naruto by surprise as he leaned over to Jiraiya and whispered, Since when can Bachan be professional? Hee, since always, kid. Jiraiya replied with a smile. I swear this kid keeps me feeling young, but man, can he also make me feel old as dirt. Temari stepped out of the carriage dressed in a black kimono with sandy-colored wind swirls on it, with a red sash being tied in the back, and her usual battle fan was nowhere in sight. Instead, she had 2 smaller ones tucked away in her sash. The 2 blondes that were to be wedded had their breeze taken away, not realizing that the other could look so good in nice clothing. It's nice to see you again, Temari, Naruto said with a smile that made Temari lightly blush. It's nice to see you too, Naruto. Gaara and Kankuro also walked up, and seeing Gaara put a big smile on Naruto's face. Hey Gaara, how you been? Naruto practically yelled out, getting the majority of the crowd to face fault. Act professional, idiot. Jiraiya scolded. It's not like I've done this before, pervy sage. Naruto snapped back, showing just how close the 2 were, which put a small smile on Temari's face. These 2 are going to be an interesting combo. Or the death of me, she thought. Alright, why don't we all go to the office and sort out details while arranging where you will stay and getting Temari sworn in? Tsunade said as she led the group to her new office. Now, while I can't officially do anything until 3 days from now when I'm officially announced as Hokage, I can at least get things in order so we can proceed immediately after taking the mantle. Tsunade said as they went over finer details of the marriage contract and visitation and citizenship rights and whatnot. After ironing out everything, everybody left except Naruto, who was told to stay after. Everything alright, Bachan? He asked. Naruto, since you're getting married, I feel that it's only right that you know about your heritage and what happened the night you were born. Tsunade said, which got Jiraiya to perk up. Naruto, the night you were born, the Kyuubi attacked the village, and since you were the only one in the village born that night, you were the only possible candidate to become the next host of the 9 Tails. Plus your mother being who she was also made it easy to choose you. Tsunade started. Who was she? Tsunade took out a picture of his mother and handed it over to Naruto, and it was a picture of Kushina Uzumaki pregnant with Naruto. What's her name? He asked. Kushina Uzumaki. In so many ways you resemble her, mainly your manners and characteristics and personality. She was one of the strongest kunoichi this village has seen. She was even considered to possibly be a Hokage if she never got pregnant, and if the 4th Hokage never took over. Tsunade added. Jiraiya put a hand on Tsunade's shoulder, letting her know that he would cover the information about his father. Alright, kid, now comes the part about your father. Let me start with this. Don't interrupt until I'm finished, got it? Now, because of who your father is and the enemies he made, I can't tell you until you're much stronger than you are now. Seeing as how only I really know how strong you are, I'll tell you who he was when I deem it correct to tell you. But I will say this, in the short time they were able to see you, I know for a fact they loved you immensely. Naruto. Tsunade said. Naruto looked at Tsunade. Yeah, I'm sorry about Kushina, but I know she and your father would be proud of the man you're becoming, and they'd be proud of you stepping up to such a task as marrying to keep peace. I know you'd rather take your time and marry for love and not politics, but hopefully you and Temari will find love in each other. Tsunade said. Tsunade then got up and hugged Naruto before giving him a kiss on his forehead. If you ever need anything, I'll be right here, she said softly as he nodded and looked at the picture again. Did they have a home ready for me? He asked. Yeah, I'll take you to it, Jiraiya said, looking to Naruto, and then Tsunade, who nodded to him silently, say that they were done. The walk to Naruto's new home was one filled with silence, and a lot of thinking by Naruto. Well, here we are, Jiraiya said as they came up to the metal gates surrounding a 20-acre plot of land. The house was set back a bit with a long walkway leading up to the front door. I know this place, Naruto said with eyes wide like he's seen a ghost. You do? The sage asked. I would hide here during the fox hunts when I was younger. They'd beat me until I bled, and when I would get away I'd run here and the gates would open for me, but no one else, Naruto said. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you during those times, kid, Jiraiya said. It's alright, it made me get better at evasion and stealth. Always a plus to something, I guess, Naruto said before biting his finger and smearing the blood on one of the metal bars, and the gates opened up, allowing the two on the property. Naruto walked inside to see that everything was covered in dust, and there was a thin layer of it hanging in the air. How the hell am I gonna get this dust out of the air? Naruto asked. Well, I guess for now just open up the windows and let the air currents do their thing, Jiraiya suggested. Naruto made some shadow clones to find all the windows in the house and open them up. After they finished their task, they dispelled, and Naruto suddenly remembered the entire layout of the house. Hey pervy sage, why do I know the entire layout? Oh, so you finally noticed the secret of the shadow clones. Once they dispel, you retain all the memories they made. It makes it the perfect jutsu for stealth and reconnaissance. You can gain intel. The clone will dispel and you'll get the info without putting your life in danger, Jiraiya said. Never really noticed before. Well, why don't we let the air do its thing while we go out for some food, my treat? Sounds good, Naruto said with a grin as they turned and walked out, locking up the property, and headed to Ichiraku's to try and beat Naruto in eating the most bowls of ramen. When nightfall arrived, Naruto met up with Temari and her brothers to see how they were doing. How's everything been so far? The blonde asked. Well, other than getting some glares, called traitors, and cursed at pretty good, Temari replied. I'm sorry for the way they're treating you guys. They don't understand what's going on. Plus you'll probably be getting more of it once you're really associated with me and our marriage becomes public, Naruto said. Why do you say that? Temari asked. Naruto paused for a minute, considering if he really wanted to tell her who he was. After a little bit of thinking, he thought that he had nothing to lose. You mind if we walk and talk about it? He asked. Sure, Temari replied, bringing her two small fans with her. To Temari, they were just walking around aimlessly while receiving glares, but she noticed most weren't even towards her. They were towards the young man she was gonna be marrying soon. I don't know if anyone told you this, Temari. Gaara and I are more alike than you may realize. He started. He must be talking about the fox, she thought. How so? She asked. Well, Gaara is a Jinchuriki for the one-tailed Shikaku, right? He replied. Yeah, since he was in our mother's womb he was the Jinchuriki. She said. Well, I'm also a Jinchuriki like Gaara, except the beast that lives in me is much stronger, and by that I mean it's the strongest tailed beast known to every living person. I hold the nine-tailed fox, Kyuubi, Naruto said. I knew it, she thought to herself. Naruto looked over to see her reaction, but she didn't seem surprised in the slightest. You're not surprised? Not really. There was a small detail about you possibly being the Jinchuriki, but you just confirmed it, she said. When I was little they would hold an event called the Fox Hunt. Angry villagers and shinobi would hunt me down to try and finish what the fourth Hokage started. They would beat me with anything they could find, carve names into my chest and abdomen, stab me, burn me. I've even had acid eat my skin. I've been whipped, and just about any other form of torture has been performed on me, yet every time the one who saved me was the fox by healing me, Naruto said. They did what? Temari yelled out, shocked and angry. She may not know Naruto at all, but the fact that he shared with her this information means he's at least trying to open himself up and trust her with a secret, and she was furious with the villagers. Why didn't you tell the Hokage? I did, nothing got done. He tried his best, but there wasn't much he could do. It's not like he could constantly watch over me 24/7 to make sure an idiot didn't try to take my life or anything. I'm not mad about it or anything. Eventually I got so good at hiding and evading them that for the last 5 years they haven't done anything, Naruto said before coming to a stop before some large metal gates. We're here, he said. Here? She asked. My parents' home, or rather our home now, he said. Look, Temari, I don't expect you to ever fall in love with me cause, to be honest, I don't know if I ever will. We're both doing this because our villages asked us to, but I want you to know that from now on, you're family to me and I'll die protecting you, Naruto said, giving her hand a quick squeeze before letting go. Come on, I'll give you a quick tour. I hope you know a little about gardening because everything here has been dead for years, Naruto said after swiping some of his blood on the metal bars, and they began walking up the path to the front door. Fair warning, I opened all the windows because of how much dust was hanging in the air earlier today, so I don't know if it's all gone or not. Naruto said. How bad can it really be? Temari asked sarcastically before her jaw dropped, seeing just how much dust was still hanging in the air. Seems like none of it left. Naruto said. Well, I think I can help with that. Wind style, air current dance. Temari yelled, swinging her 2 small fans, and a blast of wind came out and forced the dust through the nearest windows until it all got blasted outside and formed a dust cloud hanging in the air. One more to get it all away from us, she said, preparing for another jutsu, wind style, great breakthrough. Temari yelled, swinging her fans upwards to blast the dust high up into the sky where it can separate and flow freely in the passing wind. Naruto looked on, amazed at her abilities, and he control over her wind style. Temari noticed him looking at her, causing her to blush a little. What? She asked. Sorry, you're just really amazing at wind style. I mean, I know you're amazing. I saw you during the Chunin exams, but that was all for offensive purposes. I didn't know you could do something like this, he said, stumbling through his words. Thank you, Naruto. Why don't we head on in and you can show me around, huh? She asked as he nodded and began giving her the grand tour while each of them made mental notes on what they wanted to fix up. After checking everything out, they walked out front and out of the gates. Well, I guess tomorrow I'll be working on fixing up the place. I'm sure you'd rather spend time with your brothers, so I'll get everything ready by tomorrow night, Naruto said with a small smile. I spent all of today with them, including the trip over. So how about I spend the morning with them and then I'll drop by with lunch, and we can work together since it's not just your house now, it's going to be mine too, Temari said with a friendly smirk. Sounds good. I'll walk you back to your hotel, Naruto replied. You know I can take care of myself, right? Temari asked with a raised eyebrow. I know, I just don't trust people late at night to not do anything to you. Technically you're still a sand ninja and they most likely won't accept you for a while, maybe even never, since you'll be associated with me and they seem to hate me for nothing in my power, Naruto said, walking with his hands on the back of his head. I guess you're right. It's not fair to you though, Temari said, looking at him. Well, what can you do? It's not like I can change everyone's opinion of me right now. But I'll change their opinions one day, and when I become Hokage I'll prove them wrong, he said with such determination that it reminded her of the Chunin exams with the balls he had with his statements. Well, if that's the case, then I'm gonna be stuck with keeping you out of trouble, aren't I? Temari asked sarcastically. Yup, so get used to it, and have fun doing it, Naruto said, smiling at her, causing Temari to blush a little. Baka, she said under her breath. The rest of the week went pretty smooth with Naruto and Temari just fixing up what's to become their home. Soon the home was finally repainted, refurbished, looked up to date and to the liking of the two blondes. There was only one thing that Naruto wanted to add that he never told Temari about. Elsewhere, Tsunade went to heal Kakashi and Sasuke from the mental damage while also trying to figure out a way to heal Lee from his spinal injury on top of being officially named as the Hokage. So for Tsunade it was a very busy week running around, but she always made sure to check in on Naruto and Temari to make sure everything was alright, since their relationship determined the peace between the leaf and sand. In the next few hours, Temari's brothers and sensei would be heading back to their village, leaving behind one of their own. While Temari was looking around the house some more just to familiarize herself, Naruto was able to slip away to meet up with Gaara to do him a favor. On the way to his home, Naruto filled in Gaara on what he wanted done as a final touch. Soon they arrived to the house where Naruto invited Temari to some lunch at Ichiraku's, which she accepted since she had heard him talk about Ichiraku a bunch, but never indulged herself, so she thought she'd try it. Ichiraku ramen stand. Hey old man, can I get 2 miso ramens? What do y'all want? Naruto asked. I guess I'll just have whatever you normally get, Temari said. I'll do the same as you, Naruto, Gaara replied. Make it 4. Naruto exclaimed. You got it, Naruto, Tucci said as he and his daughter Ayam began cooking up the ramen. Right when the bowls got served to them, Tsunade, Kakashi, Iruka and Jiraiya all walked in and took a seat while ordering the same bowl as Naruto. Lady Hokage, it's nice to see you again, and same to you, Master Jiraiya, Temari said nervously, not expecting this group to show up. Relax, we're just here to enjoy some good ramen, Jiraiya said. Great ramen, pervy sage, Naruto replied. Stop calling me that, brat. Anyways, like my idiot teammate said, we're just here to enjoy some ramen, Tsunade said, slurping down some noodles. After Naruto and Gaara finished, Tsunade spoke up. Do you boys mind leaving us with Temari for a minute? Tsunade asked a little too sweetly, which Naruto picked up on. Instantly Naruto and Gaara popped into smoke, leaving Temari surprised as hell. They were clones. I'm gonna kill that jerk, Temari yelled. Damn, even I didn't know they were clones, Jiraiya said. He does have moments of brilliance, Kakashi said. Anyways, we just wanna have a quick chat with you, Temari, Tsunade said, getting everyone's attention in the stand. Naruto's home. Okay, we got some time, so go ahead, do your thing, Naruto said, and Gaara made a giant desert of sorts in an area of the backyard with some sand dunes to make it feel more realistic. Thanks, Gaara, I think she's gonna love it, the blonde said. Just remember what Kankuro and I said, Gaara replied. Don't worry, I'll protect her with my life, Naruto said. Good. the redhead replied. Ichiraku ramen stand. Now Temari, what we're about to tell you may scare you a little or maybe make you nauseous. Tsunade said, slapping down a thick manila folder. What's in it? She asked. Open up and find out. Jiraiya said, sipping on some tea. Temari opened it, and saw that it was Naruto's full medical history. Everything he told her was in the folder, and things he didn't mention were in there. Photos and very descriptive paragraphs painted a nightmarish picture for Temari, and for the first time in a while she began to tremble. It was slight, but it was still visible. Why? Why are you making me read through this? Why am I seeing this? Temari asked, shaken. Because everyone here cares deeply for that boy. He's been to hell and back more than the devil himself. You need to know what you're getting into. The Naruto that's been showing himself isn't the real Naruto. Jiraiya said. What do you mean the real Naruto? She asked. When you've been thrown, kicked, stabbed, burned, and everything else in that folder, right to death's door, you tend to hide your true emotions and feelings from everyone. But he put on a mask, if you will, to hide those emotions and feelings. He's a sweet boy for doing that when you think of it. Tsunade said, sipping some sake. The fact that that boy still tries to put a smile on everyone's face even when he can't give a real one says something about him. He doesn't want anyone to go through what he did. So he chooses to hide behind a mask, and it's fooled just about everyone, except those of us here. Kakashi finished. Welcome to the club. Jiraiya said, slurping on some noodles. So what am I gonna see once I start living with him? Temari asked. Who knows? Iruka said, pipping up. That boy can still be a mystery even to me. Anger. Jiraiya started getting everyone's eyes on him, and Kakashi knew exactly what the Toad Sage was talking about. Anger, fear, doubt, regret, jealousy. He feels so many emotions on any given day, yet hides it all in front of everyone. But once he's alone, it all comes pouring out of him. I've seen him without his mask only a few times. It ain't pretty, Temari. Jiraiya finished. So what should I do? She asked. Be there for him. Kakashi said. He's been through so many obstacles that I don't know if he even really wants to become Hokage anymore. But you need to be there for him in times of hurt, and you need to support him no matter what. It's different with those of us being older than Naruto by a significant amount, save I am. If he was to have someone truly support him, he can go on to do great things. The Cyclopes finished. I understand. Thank you, everyone. Temari said, bowing to them and clutching the folder to her chest. For professional reasons, I'm gonna need to hold on to that folder, but just keep in mind everything you read and saw. Tsunade said. Yes, my lady. Temari replied. Now, on to another topic. The wedding is going to be postponed. What? Hey, you better not die, dummy. You've got to help me raise our kids, you know. Temari said, smirking at Naruto. Geez, after all this time you still have no faith in me, huh? Naruto replied back, smiling. You tend to make it hard to. Temari quickly remarked. No, I think you make it hard. Naruto replied before turning to face the threat. Baka, love you too, Tima-chan. Naruto replied with a small loving smile, barely looking back out the corner of his eye. Just come back safe to me. She whispered to herself. I always have. And just like that, Naruto disappeared. Normal timeline. Now, on to another topic. The wedding is going to be postponed. What? Everyone in the noodle booth was surprised at Temari's outburst. What the fuck do you mean the wedding is postponed? Did I travel here for nothing? Pretty moo ugh. Jiraiya started before Tsunade swiftly elbowed him. Unfortunately, the contract must be approved by 2 Kages, and seeing as we're the only one with a Kage in this arrangement, we can't proceed until the Sand has appointed a new Kazekage. Not even a stand-in can sign off. It must be an official Kazekage, so yes and no to your question. Tsunade said without missing a beat. I can't believe this is happening to me. First I'm told to pack my things to leave my home to get married to someone I don't really know, settle in and try to adjust to a new life. And now I'm being told those plans have to wait. Things couldn't get worse. Actually, they could. Jiraiya piped in. How's that? Temari asked. Well, Naruto could end up dead before the wedding and that would screw everything up. Jiraiya replied. Jiraiya! Tsunade yelled. Well, it would get me out of this situation. Temari mumbled. What was that? Tsunade asked sharply. Alright, now let's calm down for a second. We need to remember that Temari is being put in a situation she never asked for. Yes, she's a Kage's child, but she didn't sign up for that life, so let's take it easy on her. Also, she's only 18 and I'm sure she'd rather take her time to find romance instead of it being shoved down her throat and forced to accept it. Kakashi said while finishing another bowl of noodles. That is true. Iruka added. Temari let out a small breath she didn't know she was holding and cracked a small smile at Kakashi and Iruka, who both just nodded discreetly. So you're right, Kakashi, and I'm sorry, Temari. Just remember the type of relationship I have with the boy, he's like family to me. Tsunade said. I understand, Lady Tsunade, and I promise to everyone I'll do what I can to keep him happy. So the big day is being put off. What's the plan until Suna finds the next Kazekage? Well, your sensei talked with Jiraiya and we've decided that the best way would require you to be the first shinobi who lives in 2 villages and works for that village while staying there. So you'll stay in the leaf for 2 months, then live in the sand for 2 months and keep switching. Baki wanted to make sure you can come home and relax for a good amount, but still have plenty of time to get adjusted to life here in the leaf. Tsunade answered. That actually sounds pretty nice. So I guess I'll start living here for 2 months then? It's up to you cause either way you'll be switching. Tsunade replied. Can I take some time to think about it? Temari asked. Of course. When you've got your answer you can come let me know. Tsunade said before getting up and walking out followed by everyone else. Temari stayed for a while to think alone before she paid and left to go back to the house that she'll end up living in and raising a family in. Inhale, exhale, here goes something, she said, pushing the gate open since it was left cracked open. She slowly walked through the front door and mentally tried to come to terms with things changing once again. Naruto? She called out but got nothing in return. Where the hell is he? She asked, looking around before moving around the house to try and find him. Naruto, where are you? Geez, where the hell could he be? She kept asking to no one in particular before something caught her attention out of the corner of her eye. Temari went out back to see a miniature desert in the backyard with Naruto giving her a smile. Whatcha think? Temari could only do one thing and that was cry tears of happiness. Did I do something wrong? Naruto asked. Temari just shook her head as she walked up to Naruto and gave him a hug, and this completely took him by surprise and he didn't really know how to react, so he just did what instinct told him to and he hugged Temari back and buried his face in her neck. Thank you, Naruto. She sobbed out with a smile on her face. This means so much to me, thank you, she said before letting go and wiping her tears away and still smiling at him. How'd you get so much sand here? I don't remember seeing any vendors, Gaara. Naruto sheepishly replied. Of course. Well, thank you again, Naruto. Temari said, giving him a quick kiss on the cheek, making him blush. Come inside, we need to chat real quick. Temari said, still smiling. Alright, it's nothing bad, right? Depends how you see it. She replied, taking his hand and leading him inside. They both sat at the dining table each with a glass of water and began the chat as Temari called it. So apparently for us to get married, 2 Kages must sign off for it to become a legal marriage. But there's a problem with that. Temari started. Since Suna has no Kage for now, the marriage has to be put on hold until the 5th Kazekage is named. Once that happens, Lady Tsunade and the Kazekage will convene and figure out a date that works. I'm sure we'll have input on the date too, but that's beside the point. So, what does that make us then? For once Temari had no idea what to say. Technically they're engaged, but that was because of an impending marriage. Now that their marriage is being put off until further notice, she doesn't really know what to make of their relationship. Well, why don't we just take things in our own hands? Temari said. What do you mean? Well, let's not let some agreement determine what our relationship is. I know we're both doing this for the sake of our village, but we might as well do things on our terms instead of letting others determine things for us. Temari explained. So does that mean we're dating? Naruto asked. Well, you haven't asked me out or anything, so I'd say not quite yet. Temari said, giving him a teasing smile. Naruto blushed at what Temari was insinuating and began fumbling through his words. So W would you want to go out sometime or something? For someone who took on Gaara with no fear and the confidence of the fiercest beast, he's so damn adorable when he has no idea what he's doing. The sand ninja thought, internally smiling. I think I can find time in my schedule, but only on one condition. Absolutely no ramen. Alright, fine. There's a pretty good restaurant in town, but I doubt they'll let us in. And why's that? She asked. Naruto just lifted up his jacket and shirt and channeled some chakra until his seal appeared. Oh right, for ball. Temari said. I'll see what I can do though. Naruto said. Good, well I'm gonna go take a shower and head to sleep. Temari said, turning and walking away with a little extra sway in her steps. Why the hell is she walking like that? Because of you, idiot. She may not be in love with you, but she's gonna at least give you a shot at things. Kurama replied. She is? The Jinchuriki asked. Yes, now her swaying her hips is to get your attention, because she knows that men love curves and she has curves to spare, so she's gonna show off. She didn't ask for this situation, but she's trying to enjoy it. Kurama said. Well, I'll be. He thought, watching her walk upstairs. Hey, Naruto. Temari called from the top of the staircase. Yeah? Everything okay? Which bathroom can I use? She asked. This honestly confused Naruto, since to him he just figured she'd use the master bathroom since they are gonna be sharing this house. The question was confusing to him. It doesn't really matter to me. This is your house too, so whatever you feel is right is okay with me. If you want to get everything set up in the master bathroom, you're more than welcome to. He replied. Okay, thanks. She replied as she went down the hall thinking about her options. I guess the obvious thing to do would be to take the master bathroom. I mean, it's not called the master bathroom for nothing. But on the other hand, I just got here and I don't know if it'd be appropriate for me to use that bathroom this early in our relationship. UGHHH, fuck me? She thought as she came to her conclusion. She settled on taking one of the guest bathrooms since she isn't comfortable yet on being here, and feeling like a guest still, she fell into that role. She was surprised to find out that the guest shower she used had no hot water, so that shower was very quick and not very helpful to relaxing her nerves. Once Temari was finished, she got dressed in a purple sleep tank that went to her mid-thighs and paired it with black sweatpants that were a bit baggy, and strolled downstairs to let Naruto know about the water situation. Hey Naruto, you might want to check the water heater. Why, what's you with? What are you wearing, Temari? He asked, slaw-jacked. My pajamas. I bought them here since the tailors know the climate here better than the ones back home. Right. Naruto said, dragging out the R. Anyways, I was asking if you could look into an issue with the water heater because my shower was freezing cold. Sure, I can look into it, but I can't guarantee that I can fix it, he said. Why not? Well, I don't know anything about water heaters. Actually, I don't know anyone in the village who does, Naruto said, trying to think of anyone who would have a clue. Why don't we check to make sure everything else is cold before I touch anything? Naruto offered, to which Temari nodded, and after 35 minutes of checking every sink, tub and shower except the master bathrooms, they found that only freezing cold water was coming out. Well, time to check out the master bath, Naruto said. Then let's get right to it. Temari replied, kinda liking spending time figuring something out with the man who's gonna end up marrying her. Again, she didn't ask for this, but she may as well play nice and at least give him a fair chance before raising hell. After a couple minutes, they were surprised to find that the master bathroom was the only room with hot water coming in. That's not supposed to happen, right? Naruto asked. No, definitely not. Where's the water heater? You did memorize this place, right? Yeah, it should be in the basement with the breaker box. Well, let's figure this thing out, Temari said, walking out and downstairs to find the basement. So which door is it? She asked. This one over here, Naruto answered, leading her off to a door away from where everything really is. They went down the steps with Temari leading the way down, and with their combined weight, and how old the stairs were, they broke some of the steps, and then the entire stairway fell after they got off in time. You know what I'm gonna say, right? Temari asked, looking at the broken staircase. Yeah, it'll be the first thing on the checklist to do this week, Naruto answered, also looking at their exit. They both turned around to see that there wasn't one water heater but two, and one clearly stating that it only supported the master bathroom. Well, I'll be damned, 2 heaters, Naruto said, and he walked up to the other heater and put the back of his hand against it, and found that it too was also cold. Well, the heater's cold, which makes sense, and that's a good thing, Naruto said. Why is it a good thing? It's not functioning the way it should be, Temari replied. It's good because that means we don't have a stupid heater that's hot but only putting out cold water, Naruto said. Oh, I see what you're getting at. So once we find an expert, it won't be too much of a hassle to fix the thing since it isn't acting strange other than not putting out hot water. Correct, so I'll ask Bachan if she knows anyone in town who can help out and we'll get it fixed. But I guess for now you'll just have to use the master bathroom, unless you like freezing cold showers and stuff, Naruto said, walking back to the staircase like it was still there. Well, Lady Luck just loves bending me over and fucking me, huh? Temari thought before turning to see Naruto walk to the staircase without a care in the world. You know the stairs aren't there, right? She asked, and Naruto froze in his tracks since it may have slipped his mind with the water heater taking priority at the moment. Nope, I remember, he said, trying to seem normal, but Temari could see through it. Sure, guess that's why you just walked up to it like it's still there, huh, dummy? She teased. I'm not a dummy, Naruto snapped back. It's a joke, Naruto, relax. Hee, for someone who's pulled pranks their whole life, I'm surprised you didn't see the humor in my comment, she said, very pleased being able to out Naruto, whatever. He grumbled, not liking someone outdoing him in his field of expertise. Kid, sweep her off her feet and jump out of the basement, Kurama piped in. Why? Just do it, idiot. You don't have time to waste talking. That's a little weird though, isn't it? Why are you still here talking to me? Guh, Kurama roared. Alright, I'm going. But Naruto turned to find Temari already jumping out of the basement and walking towards the rest of the house. Damn, idiot. Shut up. Did you say something to me? Temari asked from the kitchen. No, it was nothing, Naruto replied as he jumped out and began grumbling to himself. Stupid fox, almost getting me in trouble. Not my fault you can't control your damn mouth. I'm gonna kill you one day, you know. Ha, I'd like to see you try, Kurama roared, laughing before disconnecting the link. Dumb fox, Naruto muttered as he walked into the kitchen to see Temari salivating over what Naruto cooked. Oh, looks like you found my surprise, Naruto said. Surprise? Are you throwing a party I don't know about? She asked, taking her eyes away from the food, but the memory stayed and went straight to her stomach, which announced its presence. No, I don't really do parties. I made this for you. It's your first night here and I figured I'd cook something up nice for you. I found an old cookbook on Tsunade delicacies and ones from here that I know about and cooked them up. Temari was shocked at how sweet this young man was. All she's really seen was this goofy idiot, who can become very serious during battle, and now she's seeing this softer, more thoughtful side to him. Naruto, I don't know what to say. Well, for starters, you can tell me how the food is. This is the first time I've cooked stuff like this, Naruto said, getting the plates to the table, and it was full meal that left both blondes satisfied. Damn, I'm gonna get fat if he cooks like this all the time. I need to learn this stuff before going back home so Gaara and Kankuro will actually eat something I make, Temari thought. So how was it? Naruto asked, breaking her thought process. Fantastic, I've never had food this satisfying. Thank you, Naruto, she replied with a soft smile on her face. Well, that's great news. I'll have to teach you how to cook these so when I'm on missions in your home you don't have to buy takeout all the time. I still need to tell him about me traveling every 2 months. Fuck, how do I break it to him? Hey Naruto? Temari asked, trying to get his attention. What's up? he replied as he washed the dishes. There's something I still need to tell you about our wedding arrangement, and it being put off, Temari said. This made Naruto stop doing the dishes and come back to the table. Look, Lady Tsunade and Baki-sensei came to the agreement that I'll live here for 2 months, then live in Suna for 2 months, and keep rotating between villages until a Kazekage is appointed. Temari started. So you won't always see me like you may have originally been told. She continued and stopped to see how Naruto is taking this, and she couldn't really get a read on Naruto. All he did was breathe out before collecting himself and put up a quick and small smile. This one was fake, but why? Why was he giving her a fake smile? It's okay. I figured you'd want to get away from me in this situation. What? I know you don't want to be in this situation, and with it being me and my condition, or whatever you want to call it, I know it isn't ideal for you. You've been forced to a foreign land to marry some guy you don't know, start a family, protect a new village you didn't grow up in, and pretend everything's alright. I get it. You don't have to sugarcoat it, and act like you're okay with everything, Naruto said, going back to finishing the dishes, leaving Temari shocked at what he said. What the actual fuck was that? Temari thought to herself as this conversation turned in a direction that Temari didn't even know existed. Whatever, I'm too tired for this shit, she said, getting up, but not before having the last word. Thanks for the meal anyways, it was great, jackass. And with that she stormed off to one of the guest bedrooms and slammed the doors shut, and her mind went into overdrive trying to analyze what the hell just happened. Unbeknownst to either of the blondes, a tall white-haired man walked in and heard the last words Temari hung on Naruto. Whistle noise, already going at each other, huh? And not in the good way. You might want to make sure that no one outside the house catches wind of this, or things could get ugly politically, Jiraiya said, walking in the kitchen after Temari slammed her door. What do you pervy sage? Naruto asked, stopping his work on cleaning the dishes. Well, I was going to check in on you, and it seems like I came at a good time too, he said. Wanna talk about it? The sage offered as Naruto nodded and walked outside and sat on the grass portion of the backyard. Jiraiya plopped down next to him and sighed before laying back and looking at the stars. They sure are beautiful, huh? He said. Naruto didn't reply at first, since he didn't know what Jiraiya was talking about until he saw where the sage was gazing. Yeah, I guess they are, the blonde replied, wrapping his arms around his shins and tucking his chin into his knees. So what happened before I came? The older man asked. Well, I cooked dinner for her, she liked it, and then afterwards she told me she'd be rotating where she lives every 2 months. Ah, so you finally know. The decision was only made today, so she pretty much just found out today too. So what's the real problem? I know you're not in a love at first sight situation, so I know her leaving every 2 months isn't bumming you out. It just seems like she's only doing this to get away from me. It's no different than the beat who would attack me when I was younger. Nobody ever really wants to stay in my life. You and Bachan have exceeded the normal lifespan of a shinobi and will probably be leaving me soon enough. Naruto started before a fist collided into his ribs, sending him across the yard. A stone-faced Jiraiya still had his fist exactly where he made contact with the Jinchuriki. What the hell was that for? Naruto yelled. Do you honestly think I'd purposely leave your life? Or even Tsunade? How little do you think of me? Yes, I wasn't there for you all the time when I should have been, Naruto. I know that and have come to terms with not being able to go back and fix things, but I'm here now and I'm not going to leave you. You're the closest thing Tsunade-chan and I have to a son, and she and I aren't married, and you and I aren't related, but we still consider each other, and you as family, Jiraiya said, getting up and standing over Naruto. You gotta look at both sides, Naruto. She was forced, I know. I get it, alright, she was forced into this situation, but so was I, Naruto retorted. So then why are you acting like such a jackass? Jiraiya snapped back. If you know that she's in the same boat as you, then have some compassion for the young lady. She left her home, for crying out loud. She's swallowing her pride of being a Sand Shinobi and trying her best to come to terms of no longer being a full Sand Shinobi. You've got to cut her some slack and stop thinking that everyone that comes into your life is going to hurt you or leave you, Naruto. When I had a meeting with her, and Tsunade, Kakashi, Iruka, Tuchi and I am where there, I saw what type of person she was, kid. She's not the most emotional person, so she isn't going to just show you everything. She's also a warrior who's been in this business longer than you have and is all of a sudden being forced to switch the team she plays for. No, she definitely doesn't want to be in this situation, but she's at least going to give it a shot, and she's gonna show it in her own way. Naruto just stayed on the ground listening to the man he saw as a father figure. I'm sure she'd rather go through life and fall in love the way you're supposed to, but that's not the hand she was dealt, and she's trying her hardest to come to terms with that and adjust. You need to do the same. Your infatuation with Pinky needs to die right now. You're an engaged man set to marry what most people in the Hidden Sand refer to as their princess. Look, all I'm saying is if you just trust her and open up to her, give a chance to prove herself, she will make sure you're happy and have nothing to fear anymore. You just have to give your trust to her and wait to see what she does with it, because she's doing the same thing, and based on what I heard coming in, you're not off to a good start. I'm sure that lazy classmate of yours, Shikamaru, is looking better than you right now. Promise me you'll give her a chance, Jiraiya said. Naruto took everything in and decided that doing what his mentor said would probably be the best thing. Fine, I promise I'll give her a real chance, Naruto said. Good, now get some rest, you've got an interesting couple days ahead of you. Jiraiya said as he and Naruto clasped forearms and lifted up the blonde. Why do you say that? He asked to Jiraiya, who began walking inside to leave. Just trust me when I say women don't forget shit like this. And just like that, Jiraiya was gone. Naruto dusted himself off and went back inside and upstairs thinking about everything Jiraiya told him. He stopped once he came to Temari's door and knocked softly on it to see if she was awake, but there was no response. He really didn't want to do what he was about to, but he quietly and slowly opened the door and stepped in, and the only sound he heard was the soft breathing of Temari. Naruto walked up to the Sand Princess to see if she was awake, and just ignoring him but seeing the tear stains on her cheeks and pillow told him she cried herself to sleep. Guess she really doesn't like showing her emotions all that much. Naruto turned and left the room, closing the door quietly so he didn't wake her up, but unknown to him, she was awake and only pretended to be asleep since she didn't want to face him like this. And once she heard the doors to the master bedroom close, she began quietly sobbing again. It took a while for Naruto to sleep, but eventually he fell into a slumber, still thinking about what the perverted sage said to him. Next morning, Naruto woke up early as usual and began making some breakfast, and Temari eventually woke up and made her way downstairs after showering and getting dressed. She still didn't know how to feel about what happened last night, and she didn't get much sleep, so she woke up pretty cranky to say the least. Once she came downstairs, she saw Naruto with his back to her, and she was mentally debating about whether she wanted to talk to him about last night, or whether she just wanted to try and forget about it and move on with the mission at hand. After a few seconds, she came to her conclusion on with the mission. She turned on her heel and started to walk out and tried to find food elsewhere. She just didn't want to talk to Naruto after last night. Naruto heard her footsteps and tried to call out her name, but she was out the door and gone before he could say anything important. All he got in response was the door closing followed by the gate shutting. Damn, Pervy Sage was right. I've got a long day ahead of me. With Temari. Temari really didn't know where she was going. She just knew she didn't want to be in that house she's supposed to call home. After wandering around the village for a couple hours, she ended up walking right by the Hokage Tower and decided to go in and tell Tsunade of her decision. After walking the winding halls leading to the most powerful ninja in the village, she came face to face with the door leading into the Hokage's office. Temari knocked on the and was soon given permission to enter. Once the young blonde stepped inside, Tsunade was a little surprised to see her this early in the day. I'm surprised you're here this early in the morning. Is everything okay? Tsunade asked. I think I'd like to start my 2-month stay back home in Suna. Temari said, looking the Hokage in the eyes. Tsunade saw something else in her eyes and put down everything and leaned back into her chair. Alright, what did that idiot do? I'm sorry? Temari replied, confused. Naruto, the idiot, what did he do or say to you? The busted blonde asked, now crossing her arms under her breasts. Temari immediately diverted her gaze, not wanting to recall the events. Tsunade let out a sigh but sitting up in her chair and gesturing for the other blonde to have a seat. Temari wasn't going to refuse the gesture and sat down and stayed silent for a while before she decided to divulge the information. Last night I told Naruto what I was told at the ramen stand, and he thinks that somehow I'm using this as a way to get away from him because of his condition or whatever. He says he understands that I'm being forced into something that's not of my choosing, being forced to leave my home country, pledge my allegiance to another, marry a stranger, start a family, and whatnot. This was all after he cooked an amazing dinner and was winning points in my book, and then all of a sudden he does a 180 and pretty much makes me feel like shit. So afterwards I thanked him for the meal and called him a jackass and cried myself to sleep, woke up this morning and wandered around the village before ending up here. Temari explained. The only thing Tsunade could do was rub her temples in frustration, since this was definitely not the way she wanted to start her morning. Well, I can't say I'm entirely surprised. This is one of those things where you kinda have to take that punch on the chin and still be there for him. In his own way, he's frustrated about the situation, which I'm sure he hasn't openly said. Did you know that Naruto, as far as I know, has a crush on Sakura? Tsunade replied. No, I didn't know he had a crush on Pinky. Well, he does, and I think he's frustrated that he won't get the chance to chase after what he wants in the realm of love like everyone else in the village can. I think deep down he knows it's the same for you, but he's just so focused on him right now because that's all he's had, that he doesn't really know what he's supposed to do, how he's supposed to process information and go about it. You got to remember that boys don't mature as fast as us ladies, and with your upbringing you matured very quickly, whereas he didn't, and he still has some room to grow. Tsunade explained. Just don't take everything personal. He's got a lot more going through his head than I'm sure he's letting on, and definitely more than you realize. Just be patient with him. That's really the only advice I can give you. Whenever he pisses you off, 'cause I know he will, just try and restrain yourself and figure out why he said or did something to upset you. And of course, like you've already heard, just be there for him. The best way you can start to show trust is to give it away and open yourself up to him. Maybe you two need to just sit down and talk. It doesn't have to be the fake sunny day bullshit. Talk about your fears, what you want out of life, where you'd like to see this marriage go. Just try to have a very deep conversation with him and see what happens. Tsunade finished. Thank you, Lady Tsunade. Temari said, standing up and bowing. Temari turned to leave, but before she could walk out, Tsunade called out to her again. Temari, one last thing. Yes? If you ever need to talk to someone about boys, or stuff like this, feel free to walk on in and visit me at my home, okay? I know you don't like this situation, and I'll do my best as a Hokage to try and make things go as smooth as they can for you, okay? That's very generous of you, Lady Tsunade. Thank you for your support and help. It means a lot to know that you're in my corner. Temari replied, bowing once more before leaving to try and talk things out with Naruto, but by the time she returned to her new home he was nowhere. She walked inside to the kitchen to see the breakfast he had made was still out, and a plate with her portion was still sitting on the table waiting for her. There was also a note that her fiancé wrote for her, so he wants to talk things out and apologize, huh? She thought before she sat down, thinking about how things would play out and what she'd like to say while she ate her meal. I really got my work cut out for me, huh? Temari spent the rest of the day exploring the village since her family left shortly after Temari was told of the 2-month exchange program she'd be doing. While roaming around she kept noticing some people glaring at her, and she knew why, but she wasn't going to give them the time of day or attention they wanted. After finally getting around the whole village she decided to go to the desert in the backyard and restart her training. Having the sand beneath her feet made her feel like she was training back home. Deep down she knew it wasn't true, but she let herself feel like for the time being before coming back to reality. When she finished it was sundown, and she was covered in sweat, something she isn't really used to since the dry air in the desert pretty much evaporated their sweat. The humid air in Konoha would definitely be something she'd have to get used to. After taking a shower outside she wondered how she wanted to go about talking with Naruto. As her mind wandered to the how part she figured out the where part while looking at the onsen. After cleaning off, Temari headed in to change into a 2-piece black bikini that showed off her curves and bust in the most complimentary way possible. She came back out and began relaxing in the onsen out back. Naruto came home a little after she began winding down in the onsen and went upstairs to shower before finding food for dinner. Temari, you home? Naruto called out but got no response. Is she not here? He asked as he searched all upstairs and found nothing. He ended up seeing the steam coming up from the onsen out back and saw that she was relaxing there. Naruto changed into swim trunk and headed out back. Hey, I was looking for you. Mind if I join? He asked. Sure, I was actually hoping to talk with you, so this is perfect. Temari replied, turning to face him and watching him join her in the warm water. There was an awkward silence, both wanting to apologize but not knowing the right way. I'm sorry. They both started before blushing and clamping up. Temari, I'm sorry about how I reacted to the news you told me last night. I was completely in the wrong. You have every right to be mad and keep your decision about starting your 2-month rotation. All of this shit just hit me like a meteor. I thought I could be like a normal person and find love, but here comes political bullshit to ruin the plans. I've just never had a normal life and I thought finding love could be the one thing in my life that could be normal, but nope. Naruto said. I hear you on that note. I think that's one thing we both got in common. I grew up as a Kage's child, so everyone feared me, and on top of that, being Gaara's sister doesn't help my case any. I know I don't show my emotions much, but I was also hoping to find love on my own, but politics ruins it just like it has most of my life. I know what you've been through, Naruto, and I'm sorry you're being forced into this. Temari said. Luck of the draw, I guess. Naruto sighing out and putting his arms on the edge of the onsen. Temari didn't know what came over her, but seeing him open up to her touched her. This was a side of Naruto that people never see, but he trusted her enough to open up to her. Temari swam over to him and sat in his lap while looking at him with compassion. Naruto was a little shocked but saw the look in her eyes and he was blown away at just how beautiful she is. Something was drawing them together, and before either one knew what happened their lips locked, and Naruto wrapped his arms around her on instinct, pulling her close to him, which caused her to press her breasts into him, and she began grinding on him. From there they went off hormones and instinct. Naruto stood up and Temari's response was to wrap her arms around his neck and her legs around his waist, while he moved one hand to her back and the other one wrapped underneath her ass. Naruto began walking back to the house carrying his future wife. Once inside, Naruto moved his grip to the bottom of her thighs and slammed her up against a wall. Temari moved her hands to his hair and was pulling him closer, not wanting to let the kiss end. Unfortunately for her, Naruto had other plans and backed off but dove right into her neck and began sucking on the artery and lightly biting her neck, making her gasp and moan out while her hands curled into balls with his hair in them. She began bucking her hips as well and she could feel his bulge stiffening. And Naruto, wait, she said, and he backed off looking at her with concern. I want to continue, but I think it's better if we wait to do that, she said, caressing his face with a soft smile adorning her own. I understand, Naruto said, putting her down and looking at her. That doesn't mean I don't want it though. Just not yet. Maybe take me on a few dates and win my heart, and then we'll do that, okay, big boy, she said, gripping his bulge at the last part, winking at him, then walking away, swaying her hips a little extra and untied her top and bottom and let them fall by the string to the floor. You know, I could use a hand to get those hard to reach places in the shower, she said, walking up the stairs and disappearing. Naruto stood still, not really understanding what just happened, but his brain went into overdrive and he flew up the stairs, pinning her to the wall outside the master bedroom, getting her to squeal a little. You're such a fucking tease, you know that? He asked. Yup, she said, smirking at him and rubbing her thigh on his crotch. What you gonna do about it? She challenged. Guess you'll have to wait and see. Naruto said, turning around and walking to the bathroom. Temari didn't move at first, blushing a little, but got going once she heard Naruto call out. Didn't you need help with something in the shower? Yeah, well come on, I've got the water running. Naruto replied from the shower. I was just teasing you, you know. Sei replied, a little embarrassed. I know, but I'm not. But you're naked. And? What's your point? You're naked right now. I'll give you that one. Not like you had a choice. He replied, but felt a chill go down his spine. What was that? She coldly asked. Nothing at all. That's what I thought. Anyways, I'll shower in the guest bath. But I can spend the night in the master bed if that's okay. She replied. That'd be nice, Temari. He said, smiling, which in turn made the other blonde smile. Good, I'll see you in a couple minutes. She replied, happily walking to the bathroom. I can't believe all of that just happened. She thought to herself, blushing like a tomato. What the hell happened to me? It was like something possessed me and I actually kissed him, and oh my god, he's so strong. Picking me up with ease and carrying me. And his fucking cock felt enormous. He'll split me open if it goes in me, she thought, only increasing her blush. The whole time Naruto spent the shower relaxing and smiling a bit, thanking Jiraiya mentally. He opened himself up to Temari, not knowing what would happen, and it resulted in her kissing him, which led to them making out, and she grabbed his crotch while also accepting the invitation to spend the night in bed with him. Unbeknownst to anyone but Temari, she was a bit of a closet pervert. She read erotic novels and knows exactly what to do when the time comes for her and Naruto to consummate their marriage. She has spent countless nights fingering herself to sleep off of mere fantasy of being brutally fucked into a mattress and breaking the bed frame. Temari had some normal fantasies like being fucked in her ass, getting cream-pied, and having lesbian sex. Some of her other fantasies, though, aren't what most women think about when getting themselves off. Temari would love to have a threesome with 2 guys and a threesome with one of girl, double penetration, triple penetration, double pussy and double anal fucked, roleplay, some BDSM where she gets totally dominated and treated like a whore. She wants to cry and choke on the biggest cock she can find. Some of her kinkier fantasies include public sex, futanari, fucking her Hokage Tsunade, voyeurism, pregnant sex, getting bound and spanked like a schoolgirl. Needless to say, Temari is going to make sure Naruto has his hands full with her kinks, and she hopes he's up for the challenge. After cleaning off, Temari headed to the master bedroom in her black nightie that came down to mid-thigh, along with a black thong-style panty that really complemented her curves if she wanted to take off the nightie. Her hair was down, and she strode into the room with the confidence of the baddest bitch in town, and when she opened up the doors to the master bedroom, Naruto's jaw dropped seeing how beautiful she looked. You looked amazing, Temari, he said from under the sheets. Thanks, you look pretty good too. She replied, blushing a little before walking up and getting under the covers with him. Both of them were looking at each other while resting on their sides to talk some more before going to sleep. Thanks for opening up to me and trusting me enough to do that. It means a lot, she said, blushing right before kissing him on the cheek. So if I open up more, I get more kisses and stuff? Naruto jokingly asked. Maybe, Temari said, dragging out the word. What does that mean? Naruto asked. It means that I may keep doing stuff like kisses and whatnot for you if you open up to me and try to make things work with me, she replied with a small giggle. That's blackmail. Well, I mean, I could stop teasing you, but then that means I'll cover up and not let you get a peek at me, Temari said as she smoothly snaked her hand under the covers to lightly squeeze his cock, and she leaned in to whisper to him. But I'm sure you'd much rather I tease you and let you see my body instead of not giving you anything. Temari then rolled to her other side and backed her ass up against his cock and playfully rubbed her ass against him. Naruto softly groaned, knowing he was in for an interesting life. Temari giggled before removing her ass and was content with her teasing for the day. Can I ask you something, Temari? Sure, she replied, rolling back over and looking at his cerulean eyes. Why are you so, I guess the word I'm looking for is proper, yeah. Why are you so proper outside, but today you just seem like a different kind of person when it's just us? How come? Like I've already told you, I'm willing to make this work if you are, and I might as well have fun with it. Plus, when a girl likes a guy, she tends to be flirty. I'm just really flirty is all, she explained. Wait, so you like me? I mean, you are cute. You have a nice body, and when you want to be, you can be sweet. Plus, you having a big package helps, she said, smirking. What does my dick have to do with anything? I'm what you'd call a size queen. If I'm gonna sleep with someone, they better have a big package for me, otherwise I won't be turned on. Now, there are exceptions, like if he has a good personality, then how big he is won't matter as much, but he better know how to pleasure a woman, she explained. So because I have a good personality and a big package, you're gonna be flirty with me? He asked. That, but our countries depend on us coming together, so I want to have fun, she said. Right, okay. I'll give you more things to enjoy, but you've got to take me on that date first, okay? She said. Got it, Naruto replied with a smile before rolling over and getting comfy. Night, Temari. Good night, Naruto. Next morning, Temari was the first one to wake up and decided that she wanted to return the favor of cooking a meal and went out to get some ingredients for her favorite breakfast because she also wanted to see what Naruto thought of her cooking and the food itself. When she woke up, she saw that Naruto had rolled a bit in his sleep since his chest was pressed against her back and his arms were wrapped around her, making her feel safe and protected. The kicker, though, was she noticed he kicked the sheets off and his enormous python was just hanging out in between them. The day he fucks me is the day I can die in peace, she thought as she slowly got out of bed, making sure to not wake him. After getting out of bed and seeing he was asleep, she undressed her nightwear and left it on the bed before going into his closet and finding a shirt that was clearly too big for her. Let's see how he likes this surprise, Temari thought as she put on the orange shirt with a black yuzu swirl. As she headed downstairs, she could feel the AC blow underneath her shirt and cool her pussy. While Temari was in the kitchen, she was dancing and cooking, just enjoying the fact that her second night was leaps and bounds better than her first one. As she danced to her heart's delight and cooked, the smell wafted its way upstairs into the master bedroom, waking up the fox container. As he made his way downstairs in a black shirt with an orange yuzu swirl, he could hear Temari humming to herself while hearing her operate some of the kitchen. Morning, he sleepily said. Good morning, Naruto, she sang out, smiling back at while still shaking her hips in rhythm to her own beat. How did you sleep? He asked from the kitchen entrance. I slept wonderfully, thanks for asking, she replied as she strolled up to him and pecked him on the lips before turning around and heading back to finish cooking the food. Go ahead and pick a seat, food should be done in a couple minutes, she said, not looking back, trying to focus on the meal. Naruto found his spot and couldn't help but smile seeing her dance and pretty much put on a private show for him. He didn't even notice that she took his favorite shirt and was wearing it. I hope you don't mind me using one of your shirts, she said. I didn't even notice, he said. It looks good on you though, he complimented. Ah, thanks, Naruto, she said, blushing a little. Yours looks nice as well. Once Temari finished, she set the plates down and sat down next to Naruto to get an up-close reaction. Naruto had never seen this food before, but it looked amazing and he was eager to see how well it tasted. With only one bite, Naruto's eyes widened and he couldn't believe how well of a cook she is. This shit is fucking incredible. It might even be better than ramen. No, it couldn't, but damn, is it a close second. Well, what you think? She asked, eager to find out. It's incredible. It's some of the best food I've ever had, he said right before devouring the rest of it. You didn't happen to make more, did you? He asked. On the stove, she replied, smiling. Glad you enjoyed it. It's my favorite dish from back home. Maybe you can teach me some of what you like to cook and I'll teach you some things of what I like. Well, it sounds like a deal, since I don't have anything planned for today and Kakashi-sensei gave us the day off, so I'm game, he said, grinning and leaning on the counter. Good, I suggest we get clothes on that we don't mind getting dirty, she said. Alright then, after we finish eating I'll clean up and we can get started, Naruto said. Perfect, the Sand Princess replied. After eating and chatting, they finally finished, with Naruto showing off his famous appetite. Temari went ahead to find some old clothes she didn't care about getting dirty, and she tied her hair up into space buns and came back in a gray sports bra and gray running shorts, ready to get in cooking. Naruto saw her come back in the kitchen dressed in athletic wear, and he was once again blown away by her beauty. Wow, is there anything you don't look good in? He asked. Camo, she quickly replied. Somehow I doubt that, Naruto replied as he walked by her and slapping her ass. Eep. Temari squealed and covered her mouth quickly, not knowing what sound she just made and blushing up a storm, never guessing that Naruto would be ballsy enough to tease her back. Did he really just get back at me? Naruto was smirking like a fox as he went upstairs and changed into a short-sleeve muscle shirt and shorts with full intention to get back at Temari, because no one ones up Naruto and gets away with it. As he came back downstairs and into the kitchen, it was Temari's turn to be wowed at how he looks. Oh, so he wants to play that game, huh? May the best shinobi win. So I looked around the kitchen and I think we need to do some special shopping for what I need to cook. I'm gonna go get my welcome kimono on and I'll be ready to head out. Why don't you make sure you've got everything you need, okay? She said, heading back upstairs. If he keeps this up, I'm gonna end up sleeping with him before the week is up and it's only Wednesday. After scoping out the kitchen, Naruto did need to get some more groceries if they were gonna be cooking all day. Temari came back downstairs in her kimono that she wore when she first arrived. How's your situation? She asked. I'm gonna need to get some stuff as well. How come you covered up? He asked. Well, you're my fiancé, so only you get to see me dressed like that, Temari replied. You're something else, you know that, Naruto said, smirking. Yup, now let's go shopping so we can get cooking, she said, leading the way and swaying her hips going out the door. I think I'm actually falling for this woman, and it's only been a couple of days, he thought, following her lead. While they were out at the market, they were able to find everything with ease, and it must have been their lucky day because no one of the vendors hassled them for the price. To anyone who didn't know them, they would just see two teenagers enjoying each other's company. They were just chatting about what they were planning on cooking and if there was anything else around the house they wanted to fix, and some training they would like to get in. Once they returned home, Temari started by taking off her kimono and began dancing once she got in the kitchen like she did earlier. Once they put everything they needed on the island, Naruto brought up a suggestion. Why don't we train for a little bit before getting to the food? I'm curious to see how I stack up to you. I haven't trained in a while and I could use a good workout, she said. Alright, I'll meet you out back, Naruto said, walking out back. Temari quickly ran upstairs to grab her big fan along with her two smaller ones that she sealed away in her forearms. After heading out back, she saw that Naruto was stretching himself out getting ready. So how do you want to start this? She asked, stretching. Well, why don't we start with hand to hand before moving on to weapons and then ninjutsu? He suggested. Sounds good, Ready when you are, she said, getting in her stance. Without even needing to signal to start, they both charged in, with Naruto throwing a right hook and Temari ducked underneath and landed an uppercut to his abdomen and sent him in the air. Temari smirked, thinking she got one on him, but he popped into smoke, getting Temari to bring up her guard, but it was too late. Naruto swept her legs out from behind and brought his right leg up, ready to send it straight down at her, but the kunoichi rolled out the way and jumped back a couple times to create distance. Nice clone and leg sweep, but I thought we were gonna wait on ninjutsu, she said, dusting herself off. Thanks, that was a good dodge and uppercut you had, plus I made that clone before you came out and we agreed on the terms, so can you really blame me? The two once again started up, with each one landing good shots, forcing them both to make sure they didn't stay close for too long. Temari knows that Naruto prefers up close and personal fights, so her strategy is to get in and get out since she isn't using her fans just yet. After a solid 25 minutes of hand-to-hand combat, they moved to weapons, with each one pulling out a kunai, and began fighting. All you could hear for the next 15 minutes was steel clashing with steel as they went at it. For the most part up to this point they've been pretty even on the match, but it would change once they included ninjutsu. Once they agreed to use ninjutsu, Temari immediately pulled out her big fan and created a sandstorm to buy her some time to think of a strategy. But Naruto, being Naruto, charged right through and came out the other end with a Rasengan ready to hit her. Now if Temari wasn't as skilled as she is, she may have suffered severe injuries, but thankfully she isn't hopeless and brought her fan up to block the jutsu, but the impact caused her to lose her grip on it, and it flew up in the air and came down on the grassy part of their yard and embedded itself in the dirt. Back and forth they went, with Naruto getting close to Temari, but she always had a counter ready for him, and she made sure to keep her distance since he becomes a more dangerous fighter when using ninjutsu up close the way he does. This continued for an hour and a half before Naruto got the win by tricking her with clones and getting behind her and putting a kunai up to her throat. Yield, he said. I yield, she replied, putting her arms up, accepting defeat. You're one hell of a fighter, Naruto, she complimented, getting him to crack a grin. Thanks, your win style is no joke, and you're much better at hand-to-hand than I originally anticipated, he replied. Well, a ninja's best weapon is the element of surprise, she said, grabbing her fan and walking back in the house with her future husband. So how do you want to go about cooking? He asked. Well, first I'm going to go take a shower just to rinse off, and then I'll come back, Temari said, and disappeared up the stairs to clean off. Naruto took this opportunity to also get rinsed off, but chose to use the outdoor shower they had. If Temari had looked out the window her shower had, she would have seen her husband to be naked in all his glory, washing himself, which would have been enough for her to rub one out really quick. But she didn't look and focused on getting the sand, sweat and dirt off of her so she could cook properly and not get the food dirty. Naruto got done cleaning off much quicker than Temari and decided to tease her a little bit and left his muscle shirt outside on purpose and waited for Temari to come back down. Once she made her way down the stairs in the same shirt she had on earlier, she was given the surprise of seeing Naruto's muscular build waiting for her to gaze upon it. Naruto smirked, seeing her practically drool over him, and it made his chest swell with pride knowing a woman was finally appreciating him. Yes, Naruto was falling in love much quicker than he could have anticipated, and he wasn't going to complain. You just love to one-up me, huh, Foxy-kun? She sarcastically asked. New nickname, huh? I like it. He thought before replying. Yeah, it's kinda my thing, you know. A shit-eating grin was plastered on the Jinchuriki's face, knowing he was getting points in his favor. He's really going to make it hard for me to not fuck him before I leave at the end of the week, the princess thought to herself as she decided to get some payback and strolled up to him, swaying her hips and spinning on one foot when she got close to him, and back her ass up to him, while her arms went up around his neck to bring him closer, and she began grinding on him to show him who was in charge. Naruto's instinct was to grab her waist where it curves in and pull her closer, and this made Temari get hot under the collar, feeling his strong hands take possession of her. Before he could do anything else though, she got out of his grasp while still moving her hips and decided to go for the knockout by taking off the shirt and revealing that she wasn't wearing a bra. Naruto's face became extremely red with steam coming out his ears. Temari just walked up to him, pecked him on the lips, and began grinding on him again, causing him to get a nosebleed that sent him to the ground where he was twitching, not knowing if he was dreaming or not. I win this time, Foxy-kun, she thought, giggling at his antics before putting her shirt back on. Naruto, don't you dare die on me, you promised, Temari yelled out as she was looking at her dying husband. You promised me, damn it, she cried out as tears began streaming down her face. You promised, she whimpered as her head fell to his chest. Damn you, Naruto, at least take me with you. I can't live life if you're not here to help me walk through it. Normal timeline, Uzumaki residence. Inside the house that now belongs to Naruto, Uzumaki and Temari no Sabaki, you could hear laughing and giggling coming from the kitchen as the two blondes were enjoying each other's company as they were cooking anything that came to mind and getting the other dirty with some of the ingredients along the way. After hours of cooking up food and eating it, the two blondes were on the floor covered in flour, laughing at the other. Eventually the two calmed down before looking at each and blushing a little. His eyes are so blue, Temari thought to herself. Her eyes remind of the forests around our home, he thought. Again, neither one knew what was happening, but Naruto cupped Temari's cheek with his right palm before they slowly and sensually joined their lips. Naruto used his body to softly push Temari on her back as he hovered above her, keeping their lips locked. Temari's arms came up, wrapping themselves around his neck, bringing her future husband closer, not wanting to let go. She let her hands roam down his back, feeling his muscles and getting more into the kiss, and their tongues began a battle of dominance. As much as Temari has come off tough, in this moment she didn't care about winning. In this very moment she wanted to be put in her place by the young man above her, so she quickly put her hand on his chest, pushing him off before straddling his lap and diving into his neck and finding a sensitive spot right behind his ear. She began licking it, getting him gasp in pleasure and surprise. Naruto's hands found their way to her plump rear and he squeezed it, getting her to moan as she moved away from his neck to look Naruto in the eyes. She was blushing again, seeing that her seduction was working. She dove in once more, this time reconnecting their lips and their passion for each other burning brighter than before. Naruto's grip on Temari's ass tightened as she cupped his face, not wanting to break their connection. As much enjoyment as Temari was getting out of it, she wanted something more, and she kept repeating that thought to herself. Come on, Naruto, put me in my place, damn it. Flip me over and show me who's in charge here. After 30 seconds of still having their lips dance with one another, Temari decided to kick it up a notch and began grinding her ass on his crotch to wake up his cock, hoping it also triggered something in him. Luckily for Temari, something did wake up in him. As Temari picked up the pace and grinding her hips back and forth, Naruto used his strength to stop her and flipped her over before they vanished and reappeared on the master bed. Feeling the soft mattress beneath her woke up something within Temari as she began undressing Naruto, starting with his muscle shirt before pushing him off so she could take off her shirt, shorts and bra, but that was all she could remove because Naruto pounced on her again, sucking her neck while his left hand palmed her breast and his right hand was secure on her thigh. Temari was gone. She could no longer properly think. She was on the receiving end of so much pleasure, she thought she may die of it. Naruto moved down just a little to where his face was hovering over her breasts as he looked at her with animalistic eyes and waited. Once she came down from her pleasure high and looked at him, she knew she was screwed. He went on the offensive and latched his mouth to her nipple and began sucking on it while his tongue danced with it, flicking it around. Occasionally his teeth would lightly nibble on it, getting her to moan out loud. Naruto. Fuck. Even though she already told him that it wasn't the time to have sex and become one, she desperately wanted to go back on those words and let him have his way with her. She was so close to the point of no return that if Naruto said to get on all fours, she just might actually do it without hesitation. Naruto switched breasts, doing the same thing to this one. Once Naruto took a small break, Temari used this opportunity to flip the over, and she now straddled him once again. Temari upped the ante by stripping him of his shorts and leaving his boxers on. She could clearly see his cock was at full strength, ready to burst through, but she didn't entertain the idea of bringing it out because she knew that was the line of no return. Instead she sat on him, her panty-clad pussy on top of his boxer-covered cock. Temari placed her hands on his chest and began to slowly grind her hips back and forth. As she did this, her blush deepened and her pussy became extremely wet. She was ready to get fucked by his monster. The only thing stopping that from happening was her resolve. Temari brought her lips down once more to meet Naruto's, and this time it was sensually, and loving the way they kissed. It was still just as passionate as their other kisses, the only difference is, they didn't show it. They didn't need to though, they could feel the passion being passed from one to another through the connection at their lips. Temari pulled back, smiling softly at the blonde she has now fully fallen for. And Naruto. She started getting his eyes to soften from their animalistic look. I know. I now know that I love you completely, Naruto Uzumaki, and I'll always be here for you, and I'll always fight by your side until my dying breath. I love you, dummy, she said with a smile that held more emotions than Naruto could read. Hearing her revelation made his eyes go wide. For the first time in his life he heard a woman, a beautiful one at that, finally say that she truly loved him. This was what he's wanted for so long, to feel a woman's love and care. He was now feeling it for the first time in his conscious life. Naruto smiled back her. I think I too have finally succumbed to you, Temari. I've fallen in love with you so much faster than I could have guessed. You've gotten me to finally let me be me without fearing judgment, and for that I will always love you even in death. And I will always be here to support you and fight by your side. I love you, my desert lily. With those last words said, a fire lit back up in Temari as she kissed him with ferocity once more and began grinding her hips hard and fast with one goal in mind, to soak his boxers with her cum. Since Naruto's cock was so wide, Temari's pussy was perfectly sitting on top of it as she practically jerked him off through his boxers with her grinding. The two were moaning in their kiss until they had to separate to get some air. Once Naruto got his lungs filled with air again, he began to buck his hips to her rhythm and began smacking her ass, getting incredibly loud pops. Fuck Naruto. Keep doing that, baby. Keep smacking my big ass. I know you enjoy it, don't ya? She moaned out as her ass was starting to have red handprints appear on it. Why yes, I love that you have a big ass, Temari. Naruto replied as he was loving this wild side of Temari. Temari kept going until her clit became exposed and began rubbing on her thigh, sending her sense of pleasure through the roof. Oh fuck. I'm close, Naruto. I'm so close. I'm gonna fucking come all over you. Temari screamed, approaching the cliff of relief. Then do it. Come all over me, Temari. I want to see you come. Naruto yelled back as both blondes increased the speed of their grinding/bucking until Temari pushed her hips as far forward as she could, moved the part of the thong covering her pussy out of the way and came all over Naruto like she said she would, her love juices squirting out of her, as she screamed in absolute pleasure, as she was being taken to Cloud 9. I'm fucking coming, Naruto. With her other free hand, she furiously rubbed her clit, getting her juices to go everywhere. Oh shit, it won't stop. I can't stop coming, Naruto. Fuck me. After 20 seconds of coming, Temari finally came down from her high and rolled off of her lover panting like a dog. Once she got her breathing under better control, she tried to put words together to form sentences, but her brain was still feeling that orgasm. I've never come like that, Naruto. That's the best orgasm I've ever had. Why, you gave me the best orgasm I've ever had. She turned to see Naruto, still shocked at the fact that she actually covered him in her cum. What's wrong, sweetie? She asked. And nothing, I just didn't think you actually meant you were gonna cover me in your cum. Sorry. To be honest, I wasn't expecting to come that much, but I did, thanks to you being a wonderful lover and partner. She said, scooching over to him and turning his head to look at her as she captured his lips once more. Thank you, Naruto. Thank you for putting up with me and accepting me into your home and, more importantly, into your life. I don't know how I could ever start to repay you. You can start by always sticking by my side. He replied, smiling softly. I think I can work something out. She replied, getting a smile out of him for her smartass remark. Good, I'm gonna need you a lot in the future, especially once we start our own family. We both know I can't do it alone. He said, you won't have to, dummy. I love you, Naruto. She said, pecking his lips before getting under the sheets with him and snuggling up to him. I love you too, Temari. Naruto replied softly as he moved his head to kiss the top of hers, which made her smile, not that he saw. The two soon drifted off to sleep, embracing one another, happy that they were now truly feeling love from the opposite gender, something they both missed out on during their rough upbringings. Elsewhere in Konoha, nighttime, Tsunade was busy as usual finishing up paperwork, much to her displeasure, but a nice form of distraction was headed her way. Out on the streets, Jiraiya was headed to the Hokage Tower to visit his teammate and direct commander. The nightlife in Konoha was easily one of the best in the world, and Jiraiya had a feeling that Tsunade could use a night out on the town. As Jiraiya entered the building, he noticed it was empty. Shizen had clearly gone home to turn in for the night, and if she was gone, then that means the only person who was left in the building is his busted teammate. As Jiraiya made the journey upstairs, he began reminiscing about his time as a Jonin team leader, getting missions from the Hokage, who was his sensei. It brought a smile on his face. He missed Minato and Kushina dearly, since they were like his own children in his eyes, but he was happy to know that they entrusted Naruto's care to him. He did his absolute best to make Naruto into a man that both of his parents would be proud of, especially Kushina. Sigh, I miss those two, he said to himself as he finally approached the door to Tsunade's office. Normally he was just barge in or come through the window, but something was telling him to be more polite and cordial. With that, he knocked twice and waited. Inside Tsunade's office. Knock knock. Huh? Who the hell could that be? Tsunade said to herself. Come in, she said out loud, and she was surprised to see her teammate being so polite about his entrance. Jiraiya, I'm surprised that was you. Normally you just barge in or come through the window, she said. Well, I guess that saying about an old dog learning new tricks isn't that valid, he said, chuckling a little at his witty remark. Tsunade couldn't help but laugh a little and relax. If there was one thing about Jiraiya she loved, it was his wittiness. For her, that was something she wants a man to have, because being witty can always diffuse a tense situation, and with her current position as Hokage, she was always tense. Plus, who doesn't want a man that can make you laugh? Tsunade certainly has never heard a woman complain about a man making them laugh. What can I do for you, Jiraiya? She asked as she resumed her work. How long you been working on this junk? He asked, looking at her with a smile. Closing in on 16 hours. She replied. Well, then I think that calls for a break, Jiraiya said, extending his hand to her. I can't, Jiraiya, you know that. I've still got 3 stacks of paperwork to get through, she said with a depressed look. And you'll be here until sunrise doing them, pass out for pretty much the entire day tomorrow, and then be forced to do 2 days of paperwork in 1 day. Come on, just leave a clone here to do that garbage and let's go. You need a break, Tsunade. Jiraiya, I've barely been in this position, I can't just. That's exactly why you need to take a break. Why burn yourself out so early in your tenure? It's not like we have the 6th Hokage waiting for you to pass on the title. Just leave a clone to do the work and let's get out of here, he said. Wait, she said. What? That's it. How the hell did I not think of it? Tsunade yelled out, banging her head on the wall. Stupid, she said. What the hell are you doing? The Toad Sage asked. I'm a complete idiot for not thinking of that solution earlier. No wonder Uncle Toby was able to come home during the day and walk around the village. He left his shadow clones to do the work. Thank you so much, Jiraiya, she said. Don't thank me, thank Naruto, it was his idea. He said he was gonna tell Sarutobi-sensei once he became a Chunin, but that never happened, so he was going to let you sweat out the first few months before telling you. Jiraiya said. That little punk. Tsunade snapped. When I get my hands on him, I'm gonna strangle him to death, bring him back then beat him to a pulp. She growled out. You might have a problem with that. The sage replied. How so, Temari? Seems like those two have worked things out and are smooth sailing. That's great. Is it genuine or for the mission type of smooth sailing? She asked. I'll tell you on one condition. Jiraiya said. It better not be perverted. She huffed. Geez, what do you take me for a pervert? He nonchalantly replied. Well, yeah. You are the self-proclaimed super pervert. It was a joke, relax. He replied, putting his hands up. Just tell me the condition. She said impatiently. Leave a clone here to do the rest of the work and come enjoy the nightlife our home offers with me. Deal? He asked. Tsunade smiled, hearing that it wasn't anything perverted at all. A mere request to get her out of her office to relax and enjoy life as a human. You got yourself a deal, pervert. She replied, smiling and taking his hand. Wow, what a creative nickname, Tsunade. He grumbled as he helped her up while getting her to giggle a little. I haven't heard her giggle like that in years. Don't screw this up, Jiraiya. He mentally told himself. For once in his life, Jiraiya kept his perverted tendencies to himself, as he just tried his best to get his teammate to relax a little and not get so stressed out this early in her tenure. So, what's your game, Jiraiya? Tsunade asked as they settled into a booth at a bar. Game? He asked. Yeah, how are you gonna go about trying to get a sneak at my cleavage or getting in my pants? Tsunade asked, swigging down some sake. You have no faith in me to be decent, do you? He said. Well, one look at your track record would tell the tale. She replied, smirking. Well, if you must know, my plan is to get you out of the office and relax a little. We both know that job isn't anything to stress over. Jiraiya said, sipping on some of his sake. Ain't that the truth? Tsunade replied, smiling back at her friend. So, how are you settling in with the job and being back home? He asked. Oh, you know, everyone is a kiss-ass trying to get on my good side because of my family and the title. She said while sighing. So, the usual I see, haha. Jiraiya laughed out. Pretty much. The busted blonde replied. Well, it's good to have you home, Tsunade. He said, sipping some more alcohol before ordering some bourbon whiskey for the two of them. So, tell me, Jiraiya, what have you been up to during your travels? She asked. Well, I've come across some organization called the Akatsuki, and it seems they're hunting. He said, taking a few sips of bourbon this time, and he could feel it burn as it slid down his throat. Hunting what exactly? Tsunade asked, intrigued. Tailed beasts. Jiraiya said after pausing for a moment to make sure he wanted to really tell Tsunade the danger their village is in. So that means dash. Yeah, Naruto is going to be their target very soon. I'm estimating that they won't really make any move on the Jinchurikis for about 3 to 3.5 more years. In that time, I'm going to take Naruto on a training trip to get him prepared. Tsunade was surprised hearing the news. She knew there were people who didn't like Naruto, but this was different. This was a group of highly ranked criminals searching out specific people with incredible power trapped within them. Make sure you protect the brat at all costs. I can't lose another. She said quietly. I know, Tsunade. It's been many years since they passed, hasn't it? He said, looking at the Hokage who was staring at her drink on the table. Yeah, and I still couldn't save them. She spat out. Come on, Tsunade. Are you seriously still hung up on that? It's been over 20 years and you did your absolute best, Tsunade. Everyone knows you did your best. No one thinks you didn't try. Jiraiya said, raising his voice and getting his arms into it. Just shut up. She replied with venom. No. He snapped back, looking her dead in the eyes. She looked up and locked her gaze with his, and a silent battle of wills began. Jiraiya surprised Tsunade by grabbing her hand and shined out of the bar to their old training ground when they were much younger and on a team. The hell is your problem? He yelled at her. My problem? What the hell is wrong with you? You know damn well how I am with that subject, and you just throw it in my face. It's time to move on, Tsunade. Do you honestly think Nawaki and Dan are happy seeing you still mourning over them? They would want you to move on. You've accomplished the dream they always wanted, and you've become an even better medical ninja. It's time to move, Jiraiya yelled back before Tsunade clocked him in the jaw with her right fist, sending him into a tree. Just drop it, you idiot. Tsunade said, pissed off. I won't drop it until you come to terms with everything. Jiraiya said, wiping the blood off of his lips and popping his jaw back in place. Tsunade charged in and began an onslaught of punches. Jiraiya didn't defend himself, he knew she needed to blow off some steam. Jiraiya reinforced his body with chakra to soften the blows, but he could still feel her punches clearly, and he knew he was going to have serious damage. Tsunade continued her onslaught, punching away at Jiraiya while tears were streaming down her face, and she was yelling at him and calling him names. Not once did Jiraiya retaliate, he let her get out her frustration. Eventually she stopped throwing punches and just balled her eyes into his chest while her fists were still balled up. You're such an asshole. After they died you left me and Orochimaru left, and now Sensei is gone. Everyone just leaves me. She cried out. If I left you, then why am I here right now? He asked with a bloody smile with soft eyes. Look at me, Tsunade. Jiraiya said. She slowly tilted her head up and saw just how bloody she made Jiraiya from her punches. She was horrified that she actually dealt out this much damage to the one person in her life that still loved her in some manner. I'm so sorry, Jiraiya. I didn't mean to. Tsunade started before Jiraiya silenced her by crashing his lips to hers. Tsunade's eyes went wide and she initially wanted to push him away, but a part of her just melted feeling a man's touch again. After a few seconds, Jiraiya broke the kiss and brushed her hair and cupped her chin and made sure she held eye contact with him. I'm always going to be here for you, Tsunade. I'm not going anywhere, he said before turning and coughing up some blood and dropping to his knees feeling weak. Jiraiya! Tsunade exclaimed, trying her best to hold him up, but his heavy body just fell to the earth. Damn, just hold still, I'll fix you up, she said as she began healing him. Jiraiya had a smile on his face seeing Tsunade finally calm down and healing his injuries. I can't believe after all this time that you still pack an incredible punch, the sage quietly said. Just shut up, talking isn't going to help you heal, pervert. She responded sternly but smiled at his compliment when he relaxed and let her go to work. Once Tsunade finished healing her teammate, she helped him up and slung his arm over her shoulders. Just like old times, eh? Jiraiya said, smirking. Yeah, just like old times, Tsunade replied with a soft smile. They walked in silence for a while before Tsunade broke it. I'm sorry, Jiraiya, she said, looking down at the ground. You don't need to apologize. I struck a nerve and you responded. I'm just glad you didn't kill me, he joked. Seriously, Jiraiya, I'm sorry. You're completely right. It's time I move on, she said, and they both stopped walked as Jiraiya straightened up and looked at her. So, what is that going to entail? Jiraiya asked with a toothy grin. Maybe finding a man to share my life with and settle down, she said. Oh really? Really? She replied with a grin. They eventually made it to Tsunade's home where they let the conversation end. Thank you, Jiraiya, Tsunade said, smiling softly at him. Of course, Tsunade, Jiraiya said, grinning. I'll see you in the morning, he said, turning to leave, and Tsunade just watched his back, not moving. A smile graced her lips. Hey, Jiraiya, she called out, and he turned to her with his eyebrow raised. Yeah? What's up? I think you forgot something, Tsunade said. Jiraiya was completely lost, confusion plastered on his face. I did? He asked as he checked his person, but he saw he had everything on him. I don't know what you mean, but I've got everything I need. You sure you didn't hit your head? Tsunade had a sly smirk on her face, and she used her index finger and told him to come to her. Jiraiya was still confused and walked up to the busted blonde, and he towered over her. So, what did I forget? He asked. Just this, Tsunade said as she pulled him down for a kiss and shot her tongue into his mouth and easily won with the element of surprise on her side. Jiraiya responded by grabbing her plump ass and picking her up and slamming her back against the front door. Tsunade moaned into the kiss as she wrapped her strong legs around his broad waist as her fingers ran through his hair. After a minute of locking lips and fighting for dominance, Tsunade broke the kiss, but Jiraiya still held her up with ease. That's all you get for now. Keep being the way you are around me like you were tonight, you know, not being a pervert, and you just might get some more, she said as Jiraiya let her stand on her own. Is that right? He replied, smirking. Yep, now go get some rest and stay out of trouble unless you want the doctor to beat your ass some more, she jokingly replied. Yes, ma'am, he said, turning and walking away, but Tsunade got the last laugh as she pinched his ass, getting a yelp from him, and she died laughing as Jiraiya was blushing up a storm. I'm gonna get you back for that, you know, he said. If you think you can handle all of this, then go right ahead, I'm not gonna stop you, she said as she turned and swayed her hips as she walked in her home and closed the door. Jiraiya just stood there, not sure if he was dreaming, but he soon found out that what just transpired was indeed real. Not too bad, I think I'll follow her orders just to get some more of that. She's a damn good kisser and an even better tease, he mused as he walked home with a big smile on his face. Konoha Hospital, nighttime. Sasuke was on the roof looking out on the village as 4 individuals came up on the roof with him. My, what a pitiful sight you are, Sasuke Uchiha, a pale teen with lipstick on said. Sasuke spun around and still with a relaxed posture he asked, Who the hell are you? We're Orochimaru's personal bodyguard unit, the Sound 4. The pale teen replied. Get lost, losers, I have no business with weaklings like you, he said, turning back around. Weakling, huh? Then you won't mind if I wipe the floor with your sorry ass. A red-haired girl snapped back. TCH, you're nothing but garbage, the Uchiha replied, not even looking back at her. Why, you little, she spat before charging in. Sasuke wasn't intimidated and turned around to see a fist coming in at full speed right before he got clocked in the face and sent over the roof into a tree on the hospital grounds. Sasuke got up and wiped the blood from his lips and smirked. Lucky shot, you bitch. The redhead jumped down and was ready to keep fighting, but the pale teen interrupted. Hang on, Taiyuya, we still need him in one piece. If that's all you got, then I'm gonna wipe the floor with all of you, Sasuke said, activating his Sharingan. So you're gonna fight us with your Sharingan? It's about time, the girl responded. As Sasuke charged in, he thought he was going to have an advantage, but all 4 activated their curse mark and the fight was over before it began. Sasuke got beaten around and bloodied up a little before being contained in wire. You see how weak you are, Uchiha, you even had your Sharingan, and you still couldn't beat us, Lucky for you, Lord Orochimaru has taken a liking to you and would like to offer you a chance to gain power like ours, power so you can beat your brother Itachi. So, what do you say? The pale teen asked. Sasuke stayed silent. He was in shock and anger that he lost so badly to these guys. They had power that was beyond his Sharingan, and it angered him to no end. Sasuke didn't reply. He was still trying to process everything. We'll give you some time to think about it. We'll be back in 2 nights a little bit outside the village. If you decide to join us, you better make sure no one knows, otherwise we'll kill you. The pale teen said with emotionless eyes. They soon vanished, leaving Sasuke to think about the proposition. Sasuke stayed outside by the tree for hours until he decided to go back inside, grab his clothes and leave the hospital on his own accord. Next day, Uzumaki house. Naruto and Temari woke up together, and both just smiled and thinking how lucky they ended up. Even if things started out horribly, they both made the effort to turn things around and they got the ship going in the right direction in no time. Temari was feeling extra good this morning after their makeout session and orgasm she had yesterday, so she hopped on Naruto, straddling his waist with a big grin on her face. So what you got planned for today? She asked. As soon as she hopped on him, Naruto put his hands right where her waist dips in and squeezed slightly, getting Temari to blush and let out a soft moan. Well, I was going to check to see if my team is ready to get back to training since Sasuke should be good to go soon. Oh, and I wanted to check in on Lee and see how he's doing. I heard he got done with surgery the second day we came back with Bachan. What about you? He asked. I hope you didn't forget about our date, Foxy-kun. She teased. Naruto blushed at the nickname but realized it did slip his mind. Yesterday he was having so much fun with Temari that he totally forgot about it. Yeah, after I check in with Lee, I'll take you out tonight. Anything in specific you're feeling? I'll leave it up to you. She said, getting off of him then the bed as she took her thong off while showing off her ass and giving Naruto a peek at her pussy. When it came to teasing, Temari seemed to be a master at it, and Naruto was definitely not going to complain. Temari held her thigh by a fingertip and let it fall to the floor as she walked with a nice sway in her hips to the closet. Naruto couldn't help but get hard and make a tent out of the sheets, seeing her big ass and hips move so hypnotically. Once she got to the door, she turned to look over her right shoulder at him and noticed the tent he made, and she blushed as she imagined getting railed by him. I can't wait to make him mine, but I need to wait a little bit longer. She gave Naruto an extra present by bending her body over and spreading her ass apart so he could get a clear view of her asshole and pussy. Once again Naruto's face became red like a tomato, so Temari gave him the knockout punch by spreading her legs, and she began rubbing her pussy while looking at him and moaning. Her eyes held a look that said she wanted to be bent over the sink and fucked to hell. After a little while of rubbing herself, she made Naruto have a nosebleed by inserting her middle and ring finger into her pussy. Naruto, I need you, baby. I need that big cock of yours shoved all the way in my wet pussy, baby. That was it. Naruto had the biggest nosebleed and passed out on the sheets with steam coming out his ears and his face still red as a tomato. Temari stood up giggling as she said, he's too easy to tease, but then again, that makes it more fun knowing I can do this to him whenever I want. Temari got dressed while her finance was still passed out. She decided to go with a normal t-shirt, and pulled the hem up under her bust and tied it in the back to show off her toned stomach, and went with athletic shorts again. Just like the day before, she woke up Naruto with the smell of her cooking, and he came down to see her dancing and singing to herself again. It warmed his heart to know that she was getting comfortable with being around him. He came up behind her, giving her a hug as he wrapped his arms around her protectively, and she let out an erotic sigh as she felt his strong arms enclose her. She leaned her head back and whispered in his ear, "Hey there, handsome, seems like you finally woke up. What took you so long?" She teased. Naruto responded by turning her around and picking her up and holding her by the bottom of her thighs as she wrapped her arms around his neck and legs around his waist. Well, this vixen kinda slowed me down earlier. She thought it would be funny to try and tease me. Try? I thought I did a pretty good job teasing you, considering you passed out with a bloody nose again, Foxy-kun. She said, smirking sexily. Shut up. He replied. Make me. She answered without missing a beat. So Naruto did. He crashed his lips to hers while she responded, and the two began battle for dominance, but Temari gave up and allowed him to wash her with love and ecstasy. When they broke the kiss, they looked at each other with nothing but love in their eyes. There was no lust, just love. You're really good at that, you know, she said, smiling dreamily. You're not half bad at teasing, he replied as he put her back on the floor. Well, when you have the right man, it makes things fun, she said, turning her attention back to the food on the stove. Is that right? Naruto replied as he cupped her breast from behind as his chest met her back and his third leg was grinding into her crack. Temari moaned at the feeling of his dominant side coming out, and he took the opportunity to capture her lips once more to suck out any air and leave her begging for more. When he broke away, she saw just how sexy he looked with his demeanor. Naruto backed away and smacked her ass hard, getting another moan, but this one much louder as he went and sat at the table waiting for her to finish. Damn him. He's so much better at teasing than he knows. Just one kiss and my breast's getting grabbed and I'm so ready to take him right on that table. Calm down, Temari. Just a little more time and then you can fuck him. Just hang on a little longer. Hokage office, same time as above section. Tsunade was in the office early after a nice night out, and her teammate came in the office to see her. "Well, you seem to be in a good mood," Jiraiya said after walking in the office. "Well, I had a nice night," Tsunade replied, playfully smirking. Jiraiya could only smile at his teammate. He hasn't seen her this happy in so many years, and it was nice to see her coming back to her old self. "So, anything interesting going on around the village?" he asked. "Well, Rock Lee is still recovering from surgery, Sasuke is recovering from his, and Kakashi got released a couple days ago. Other than that, I'm not sure anything major has happened," she replied, resting her chin on her interlocked fingers. "Well, I guess a peaceful village is a happy village," Jiraiya said. "Is that how that saying goes?" she quipped. "It does now," Jiraiya replied, and the two shared a laugh before smiling. Up until lunchtime, Tsunade worked diligently, and managed to get her paperwork down to a few sheets, and decided to leave a clone to finish it while she walked around the village and get lunch. "I wonder what Jiraiya is up to," she thought as she walked down to the front and ended up running into Jiraiya. "So, off to lunch are we? Mind if I join?" the tall sage asked. "I'd like that," Tsunade replied, and they began walking together, and most of the people who saw them thought nothing of it. To them it was just two teammates and friends having a good time and enjoying each other's company. Others, though, loved to create their own stories and began the gossip of a possible relationship blooming. The two Sannin went out for sashimi and yakitori, and of course their drink of choice was sake. The two enjoyed each other's company and began reminiscing on some old times and laughed at the good times they had when they were younger. "Thank you, Jiraiya," Tsunade said as she placed her hand on his. "Of course, Tsunade, in a way we are family. We're the only ones left from our team, so we gotta have each other's backs, don't we?" he said, smiling. "Yeah," she replied, getting lost in his charcoal eyes. The two paid for the meal and had a nice stroll back to her office, and if you looked close enough you could see Tsunade glowing. After a nice walk they finally went inside the office to keep talking to distract Tsunade from work a little longer. "Thanks for the meal, Jiraiya. It was nice to get out the office and not worry about paperwork," she said, sitting on the edge of her desk. "You know you've been thanking me a lot lately," he teased. "Shut up," she said, off to the side and blushing, which made Jiraiya roar with laughter. He walked up to her, and she spread her legs a little to let him get closer. "I've needed this for so long. Thank you for not giving up on me," she said. "I do it because I still love you, Tsunade. I know you may not feel the same way as I do, but I still love you," he said. "Then come and show me," she playfully challenged, and Jiraiya accepted as he crashed his lips to hers and lifted her off the desk and held her tight. Tsunade pushed him off before making a new shadow clone to take over, and she threw off her green haori before grabbing Jiraiya by his vest. "What are you doing, Tsunade?" he asked. "Isn't it obvious? I'm gonna be doing you in a second unless you have a complaint." "I don't, but this is kinda sudden. I've denied my feelings for you for so long and I won't waste another second," she said right before pulling him down the vest and crashing his lips to hers, and they teleported to her home and began making love to each other. If anyone was to walk by Tsunade's home, they would hear their leader moaning her lungs out and getting sent to Cloud 9 by her teammate turned lover. By the time they finished, Tsunade looked like a mess and Jiraiya had the biggest smile on his face. "If you get me pregnant somehow, you better help me take care of the kid." "Of course I will, you don't have to worry about that. But what are the chances you actually get pregnant? Aren't we supposed to be past the age for us to get pregnant?" "Yeah, we are. I'm just saying that if by some chance I get pregnant, you better be there for our child," she said. "I will, I promise, Suhaim," Jiraiya said, pecking her on the forehead before she lifted her head up and snagged a kiss from him. For Naruto and Jiraiya, things were looking very good with the relationship they've started. "Elsewhere in the village, I need to get stronger. Those lowly bastards beat me once with some weird power. I need what they have. I need Orochimaru to give me the power to kill Itachi." Underground. It seems that Uchiha boy is getting impatient and will be leaving us soon. Orochimaru is lucky I allowed his pathetic bodyguards in a second time. They barely did anything during their invasion, but I think they got the message across to Sasuke a second time. "I leave him in your care now, Orochimaru," an older man with a X-shaped scar on his chin thought in his lair. Now it's time to find a way to ruin the relationship between that Jinchuriki brat and his horse Suna bride. With Sasuke nighttime, Sasuke was looking at a picture of Team 7 and then put the photo face down. "This is goodbye, Naruto. I need to get stronger, and you along with everyone in this village is nothing but a hindrance to my mission." Sasuke left his apartment and met up with the Sound for a day earlier than the deadline. If he was being offered some great power, he didn't want to waste a second on obtaining it. He wanted it now. North side of Konoha Forest. "Alright, take me to Orochimaru," Sasuke demanded, and four figures showed themselves, all of them smirking. "A wise choice, Sasuke Uchiha. Come, we mustn't waste another second," the pale teen said. "Lead the way," the Uchiha replied with pure fire and determination. Back in Konoha at the same time, Naruto and Temari were just finishing up getting ready as Naruto found a perfect restaurant for them. This place didn't care about who you were. As long as you had money to get in and buy the food, they would accept your business. Naruto was dressed in his welcome kimono and clogs, while Temari decided to go with a sexy black dress that hugged her curves and bust while leaving the back open. From the bottom of her ass down the floor the dress was much looser and hid her feet as she walked with her 4.5 heels. Her hair was in its usual 4 pigtails, and when she came down the stairs, they were each blown away at the sight of their date. Damn, she looks beautiful. He cleans up so damn well. They walked up to each other, and Temari now had a height advantage on him with her heels, but it wasn't much since his clogs gave him an extra 2. You ready, handsome? She asked with one hand on his partially exposed chest. Definitely, he said, smiling, still taking in her beauty as his right hand found its spot on the small of her back. You can go lower if you want, she whispered in his ear and pulled back, smirking to see him blushing a little. I would, but I don't want people to get a look at that beautiful ass you're packing. I'll grab that, but all I want when it's just the two of us. I won't let anyone else see that, he replied. Fair enough, she replied, and the two walked out hand in hand and prepared for their first date. When they got to the restaurant and got seated, ordered food and everything, they didn't really have much to talk about since they'd pretty much told everything about themselves, so it was a fairly silent dinner, but it wasn't an awkward silence. They were okay just taking in the other and enjoying the company being presented. But Temari, being the tease she is, decided to really take things up a notch. She pretended to accidentally drop her fork in the floor and began searching for it, but she could care less about the utensil. Her prize was locked up in his slacks. When Naruto felt a hand on his crotch, he froze and looked down to see Temari's lust-filled eyes boring a hole through his crotch. Temari, what the hell are you doing? He aggressively whispered. Shut up and act normal. I'm trying to do you a favor here, she replied as she unzipped his pants and reached in to finally pull out his python and get a good first look at. Cammy, this thing is huge, she thought to herself, marveling at the masterpiece she's been craving for days now. Naruto tried his best to act normal and went back to eating his meal, while his fiancée began enjoying her meal. Thankfully, we had a booth in the back corner that had cloth on the table that extended all the way to the floor. Underneath, Temari began pumping his soft cock, and it took no time for him to get hard at 9 inches. Holy shit, he's huge. Temari began her tease by kissing up and down his cock and licking extremely lightly around the head. She gave a kiss to the head before going back down to the base, and she dragged her tongue all the way up and flicked her tongue when she got to the top. Oh, I'm going to enjoy this, she said as she stretched her mouth open as wide as she could and took him into her orifice and just played with the head, licking it and sucking it hard. Soon she took him deeper and deeper until she maxed out at the 7-inch mark. Naruto wasn't just long, he was thick, so Temari fit as much as she could before running out of room, but she wasn't going to back down. She didn't care what her current limit was, she was going to break through it and create a new one right now. For the next 15 minutes she just worked his cock and those 7 inches she could fit before she began forcing little by little the remaining inches down her throat. If you were to look at her throat, you could see his cock moving her throat around as he entered and exited. Naruto was doing his absolute best up above to not look affected as he continued to put food in his mouth, but he couldn't ignore the absolute pleasure he was feeling below the table. Temari knew exactly what to do with him, and he became putty. He knew she was trying to get those last 2 inches down, and decided to help her out by putting one hand on the back of her head, and was lightly pushing her to go further. Temari smirked underneath the table at the action. It meant he's completely gone, and he can't think straight. She decided to finally just shove it down in one go, and she was rewarded with Naruto's cock burying itself in her throat, while her nose met his pelvis for the first time. Once she got her goal, she smiled and began bobbing her head up and down as she beat back her gag reflex. After some time deep-throating him, she decided to play with his head again, and used her 2 hands to help pump him as they twisted in opposite directions of each other. She could feel Naruto getting close to orgasm as he began tensing up and his cock began to twitch. But upon feeling it twitch, she let go, and took her mouth off his cock and returned to her seat and smirked at his face. Problem? She asked. Fuck you. Oh, don't worry, you will eventually, she replied with a sexy smirk. So you get to come and I don't, is that it? He asked. Yup, better get used to it, because I certainly won't stop teasing you, Foxy-kun. You're such a bitch. Yeah, well, I don't think you'd like me if I wasn't like this, she responded smoothly. Unfortunately, I think I have to agree with you on that one, he said, still out of it. I know. Just finish your damn food so I can make sure you finish what you started. Is that a threat? She asked. A promise, he replied with fire in his eyes. What did I just open up? She thought. She finished her food and they paid for the meal. It was a silent walk back home for them, and Temari was wondering the whole time if he actually meant what he said. She found out when they got home. Naruto made good on his promise, because he never goes back on his word. Konoha Forest. Naruto, you better not follow me, or I'll have no choice but to kill you. This is the end of our friendship. This is your son, the blonde said, smiling. What? What do you mean, my son? You mean after just that one time? He replied. That's kinda how sex works, you idiot. You only need one time, and unless you forgot, you finished inside of me. Idiot, she responded, clocking her lover in the head. I swear you can be so stupid sometimes, she grumbled. Normal timeline. After Naruto went home with Temari and made good on his promise to her, they slept peacefully, not knowing that Sasuke Uchiha has forsaken the village and is currently headed to Orochimaru. No one knew he left, and no one was going to find out until the morning after he left. Next morning, Naruto and Temari woke up together, and after Temari teased him some more by bringing him right to the edge again with some morning head, they made their way downstairs in their usual morning attire. Temari had on a black sports bra with shorts she stole from Naruto, and Naruto had on a different pair of shorts and nothing else. Their morning has become pretty routine. They'd cook and dance together while laughing and getting food on each other before sharing a kiss or three. They'd eventually move to the table where they'd eat, but today was different. Naruto heard his name being called from the front gate of his home, and went to see who it could be this early, and he found Shikamaru at the gates. "Shikamaru? What are you doing here this early?" he asked. "And what's with the vest?" "Just got promoted 5 minutes ago to Chunin by Lady Tsunade. But that isn't important. Sakura was found knocked out on the street this morning. She says she ran into Sasuke last night, and that he was leaving for Orochimaru. Lady Tsunade wants me to put a team together, and use available genin that I think would be good for this mission. You're the first person that came in mind. We need to go now," he said. "Alright, let me get my gear and I'll meet you at Choji's. I assume he's coming." Naruto replied in a serious manner. "Yeah, I'll meet you there or at the gates." "Got it," Naruto said and turned to get ready. "Everything okay, Naruto?" Temari asked as he came in the house. "Sasuke's left the village for Orochimaru and Shikamaru is leading a retrieval team under Bachan's orders," he said as he went upstairs and got changed in 30 seconds and had everything he needed. He came back downstairs where Temari was waiting with a worried look on her face. "Wipe that look on your face. Everything's gonna be okay. I'll bring him home," he said. "I don't care about him. I'm worried about you. If he left for Orochimaru like you said, he's probably going to have a security detail with him. Promise me you'll be safe and you'll come back to me in one piece," she said. "I promise, Temari," he said with a small smile on his face. The two shared a kiss like it might be the last time they'll get a chance to, and Naruto started walking out. "Be safe, dummy," she said. "I will. I'll be back soon." "I love you, Temari." "I love you too, Naruto," she said, and with that her fiancé was gone. Temari finished breakfast in silence, and then got dressed in her normal attire before leaving the house to check in with Tsunade to see her full plan. By the time she got ready to leave the house, Shikamaru had collected Naruto, Choji, Kiba with Akamaru, and Niji. He laid out the plan and they soon got moving. Just as Temari locked the gate to her home, a member of the ANBU Black Ops appeared at her feet kneeling. "Lady Temari, Lady Hokage asked for your audience. She says it's urgent." "Does it have to do with Sasuke leaving?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am." "Alright, I'll be there in a minute," she said, and the ANBU left while Temari ran to Tsunade's office. Tsunade's office. Temari made it to her office and she began getting debriefed of the situation. "So Sasuke left for Orochimaru and Sakura says she tried stopping him, but she got knocked out, and now Shikamaru is leading 4 genin to chance after them. That sums it up," Tsunade said. "You know he most likely has a security detail that has at least Chunin level individuals, and put together are probably Jonin level or higher, right?" Temari said. "You're worried about Naruto," the older blonde said. "I can't help it. I've finally fallen in love with him and I can't help but worry for him. He is going to be my husband soon and eventually the father to our kids. It's my job to worry about him," she said. "Don't worry. Naruto has a tendency to overcome obstacles that seem impossible. And besides, we're talking about getting Sasuke back. Naruto won't stop until he's done that," Tsunade said calmly. "Yes, ma'am, I understand. I'm saying to not worry, Temari," Tsunade started as she got up and walked up to the younger blonde. "Just keep it under wraps. You're a shinobi. Right now you need to act like it, and as a soon-to-be married woman you need to have faith in your man to take care of himself." "You're right. Is there anything I can do?" she asked. "Actually, you can. It's the real reason I called you here. I need you to send a message to the Hidden Sand to your siblings. We have a mission for the 3 of you. Back up the Sasuke retrieval team, and make sure our boys come home. Defeat this enemy with as much force as you need, even if you have to kill." Tsunade said. "Yes, ma'am." Temari started before drawing blood and going through hand signs, summoning jutsu. Temari yelled out, and her weasel popped out of the smoke. "Kamatari, I need you to go to the sand and give a message to my brothers, then reverse summon them here." "I understand, but you know reverse summoning can be dangerous. Just do it. We don't have time for them to travel across the desert." "Understood," Kamatari said and got the message from Temari and left. "Go ahead and prepare, Temari." "Oh, and you're officially a Chunin now, Temari, congrats," Tsunade said, tossing her a vest. "Thank you, my lady," Temari said, bowing and left. Temari changed out of her attire in favor of a new one she's been wanting to try out. "No time like the present," she said as she got dressed, put her fan on her back, and had her 2 smaller ones sealed away in scrolls. Once Temari checked over to make sure everything was in place, she left and headed for the main gates. "Suna." Kamatari popped out of nowhere, surprising Kankuro, but Gaara wasn't fazed. "Kamatari, what's the problem?" Gaara asked with his monotone voice. "It's Lady Temari. She's been given a mission by Lady Hokage to back up the Sasuke retrieval team, and she needs you two to come with Temari." "What do you mean, Sasuke retrieval team?" Kankuro asked. "I'm not sure of the situation. I was just given the information to come and get you two and reverse summon you back to Konoha. Please hurry and get ready." Kamatari asked. "Right. Both Gaara and Kankuro got ready, and after 30 minutes they were fully prepared after telling Baki the situation. Just be safe, you two, Baki said. Don't worry, it's those leaf brats you should worry about. We'll uphold the honor of the Sand Sensei, the older Sand sibling said. Baki nodded, and Kamatari tried to reverse summon them all the way, but he could only manage to put them a few hours out of Konoha. I'm sorry, but this is the best I can do without consequences becoming relevant with the two of you. Kamatari apologized. It's okay, take this and tell Temari we'll head east to Konoha and for her to head west. We'll meet up and then head north after the group, Gaara said, handing Kamatari a small pouch of sand. Kamatari reverse summoned himself back to Temari and delivered the message. Temari, thank you Kamatari, I'll take that pouch. You're good to go. Just remind me to give you some treats after this mission is over, Temari said, smiling at her summon. Of course, my lady, Kamatari said, then poofed away. With that, Temari headed west to meet her brothers. It took 6 hours for the siblings to reach each other, and they turned north to follow after the retrieval group from the leaf. They were pushing themselves to catch up, mainly Temari out of worry for Naruto's safety. With the retrieval group they were slowly making ground on Sasuke and the Sound 4, but they really made ground when the Sound 4 stopped for a break. This allowed the leaf to cover a good amount of ground. Before the leaf even left to chase after them, the Sound 4 made Sasuke take a pill that was going to kill him, as Jirobo put it. Sasuke was hesitant, but after a nudge in the right direction with some persuasion about the pill granting him a second stage of his curse mark that would make him much stronger, he gobbled it down like a tic-tac. Afterwards Sasuke's body exploded in purple and black flames, and the Sound 4 prepared to seal him into the coffin where Sasuke would undergo his transformation over the next few hours. Once they got this done, they accidentally encountered a Jonin squad from the Leaf, and an unavoidable fight began between the two groups, and after 20 minutes of fighting and being forced to use the second stage of their curse marks, the Sound 4 won and moved out to try and keep their schedule of getting Sasuke to Orochimaru. After 40 minutes of traveling they were forced to stop since the toll of the battle was catching up to them, and the adrenaline had completely worn off. Damn, to think we were forced to use our second stage against some Leaf scum. It's embarrassing. Tayuya spat. Relax Tayuya, it's not like they were weak, those were all Jonin. We're lucky we got out of that in the condition we're in. Sakan replied. Shut up, Two-Face, I'm just saying it shouldn't be happened. She snapped back. Someone's here, Kadamura said. Is the trap set? Sakan asked. Do you have to ask? The multi-armed shinobi replied. They soon got into position and waited to strike. Retrieval team, make sure you watch where you're going. We haven't seen too many traps, and the ones we have seen have been set up pretty lazily. That's gotta mean we're getting close and they're resting, Shikamura said. Got it, Choji said. Keep your eyes open, Naruto, Shikamura said. The hell you telling me for? I know to keep my eyes open. He snapped back. Because you're the one who lets his emotions get the better of him when it comes to Sasuke. Just stay focused and ready. The Nara replied. Yeah, he started before Shikamura caught him with his shadow. That's exactly what I mean, he said. Nice catch, Naruto replied. Shikamura pulled him back and they fell down while Niji checked the trap. Interesting, he said. What? Kiba asked. They set a double trap. While we've seen every trap and thought that they've been put up pretty lazy and rushed, they took the time to put down 2 trip wires. One that easily catches the sun's rays, and a second one that barely catches any close to the first. I see, the idea was that we see the first one, nullify the trap, and then when we move on, we trip the second one without realizing it. It seems like a paper bomb has been attached to it with a small delay, so when you ready a certain area of no return, multiple paper bombs go off. Not bad, gotta give them some credit, Shikamura said. Once they took care of the traps, they were ready to move on. Unfortunately, they missed one that wasn't able to be seen and the paper bombs went off. Thankfully, Shikamura caught it and was able to jump back, and everyone followed his lead, and they avoided serious damage with only some scratches and bruises from kicked up debris. When the dust settled, the Sound 4 was waiting for them, and all of them were smirking. This is the group they sent after us? They're just a bunch of snot-nosed brats, Tayuya called out. I want them, just go on ahead and I'll be right behind you, Jirobo said. You sure, Jirobo? Sakan asked. Just give me a few minutes and I'll catch up, Jirobo said. No, fuck that, I want to beat these brats to a pulp, Tayuya snapped. Drop it, Tayuya, we still need to get back to Lord Orochimaru, let's go, Sakan said. With that, the other 3 members of the Sound 4 left. Alright, now to take care of you brats, Jirobo said. Shikamaru, you got a plan? Naruto whispered. Not really. I know nothing about his abilities. Shit, Naruto replied. Earth-style barrier, Earth Dome Prison. Jirobo yelled, and the earth from around them seemed to swallow them and create a dome. Good luck trying to get out of this one, Jirobo taunted. Damn it, Naruto yelled, punching the wall, but to no avail. Stand back and let the real man handle the job, Kiba replied with a smirk on his face. Now hold on a second. Fang over Fang, Kiba yelled as him and Akamaru did their signature jutsu and left some dents in the wall as they bounced everywhere, but the dome didn't break. Damn, I thought we had it for sure, Kiba said. You idiot, that's what I was trying to tell you, Shikamura said. Tell me what? Kiba spat. Look, when Naruto punched the wall over here, the dome seemed to heal itself very quickly, Shikamura replied. So what? the Inuzuka said. You're such a dumbass, it's a drag. Let me dumb it down for you. This place is made of chakra. Niji, can you confirm this for me? The Nara asked. Niji obliged and activated his Byakugan and saw the chakra network holding the rocks together and in place. Shikamaru is right, there's a complex chakra network holding the rocks together and in place. Kiba, I want you and Akamaru to hit that side of the dome over there. Naruto, hit the side opposite of Kiba. Choji, you and I will hit opposite sides of the wall from each other. The three looked at Shikamaru, who nodded his head in agreement. While you guys do that, I'm going to pay attention to your impacts. Make sure you use a strong jutsu, Shikamaru said, and prepared for what was to come. Rasengan. Fam over Fam. Partial expansion jutsu. 8 trigrams, 64 palms. The genin all yelled out and hit the dome and then stepped back to let Shikamaru observe everything. Exactly what I thought, Shikamaru said after a minute of looking thoroughly. Well, Naruto said, see this point where you hit Naruto? Yeah, it's all healed up. Exactly, now look at Kiba's. Kiba's point of impact was still there, and the dome was slowly healing that portion. It's barely healing itself, Naruto said. Yeah, that is something of significance, Shikamaru replied. Yeah, because my technique is the strongest one, obviously, Kiba replied. Idiot. It means that Jirobo is on the side that Naruto hit, because of how quickly his mark healed. The dome is constantly sucking out our chakra to keep the dome intact. When we use techniques, it uses the chakra from them to heal itself. The closer to Jirobo the point of impact is, the faster it heals. The further away it is, the longer it takes to heal. So we just need to keep hitting the side Kiba attacked before we run out of chakra and we'll be free. So let's do it again, except everyone take turns aiming at the spot Kiba hit, Shikamaru said, and the 4-leaf genin nodded before repeating their attacks one at a time, with Choji delivering the final blow and breaking them out. Alright. Nice going, Choji, Naruto exclaimed. Yeah, good job, Choj, Shikamaru complimented. Now that the group was free, it became a 5-on-1 fight. Alright, now that we're free we can easily take him on, Kiba said, punching one fist. What about Sasuke? Naruto interjected. Naruto's right. I was hoping to keep the group together, but every second we waste they get further ahead. Unfortunately, we'll have to split up. Now the hard part is to decide who should stay, Shikamaru said. I'll do it, Choji replied with a serious look on his face. Choji, you sure? Naruto asked. Our mission is to get Sasuke and bring him home. If that means we need to split up and fight on our own, then so be it. The others could feel the conviction and knew there was no way to convince the Akimichi heir otherwise. You better win, Naruto said before turning and taking off, and the others left as well. After calming his nerves and looking at the enemy that towers in front, Choji was ready to have his first real fight that would ultimately mean life or death. This was his first real taste of being a shinobi. So you think your puny little ass is enough to take me on by yourself, huh? Jirobo said. Choji didn't say anything, he just waited for the fight to begin. You realize you're gonna die here, right? So long as the mission gets done and we Sasuke back home where he belongs, I'll gladly give my life, he replied. Then get ready to die. Choji calmly took out a 3-cell container with different colored pills. Jirobo noticed this as he charged in but didn't bother to stop. Take whatever you want, kid, I'll run you through, Jirobo thought as Choji popped the green spinach pill. All of a sudden Choji could feel the immense power rush through him, and he sent a punch straight for Jirobo's gut and made perfect contact, stopping the man in place. From there it became a battle of wills, with both plus-sized shinobi having the veins in their heads protrude. Unfortunately for Jirobo, Choji gained the upper hand, was able to begin to push him back before gaining enough momentum to switch gears. He grabbed the Sound 4 member by his belt, and with a great feat of strength he lifted him off the ground and suplexed Jirobo headfirst into the ground. With the Sound Mean's head buried in the ground, the rest of his body went limp. Breathing heavy and starting to feel the beginning effects, Choji began to slowly walk away before he dropped to a knee and threw up from the sheer pain he felt in his abdomen. Not bad, that'll be the last shot you get on me, Choji heard from behind him as his eyes widened. No way, Choji whispered. Alright, let's get this started then, Jirobo said, popping his neck. Damn, I thought I finished you, Choji said, getting up. Please, that little move isn't enough to kill me, Jirobo replied. Well then let's try this. Spiky human boulder, Choji yelled, and he started to rotate incredibly fast with spikes protruding from him as he charged the Sound 4 member. Earth style, Terra shield, Jirobo yelled as he slammed his hands on the ground, and a huge block of earth stood up like a wall and stopped Choji right in his tracks. Jirobo cocked his fist back and punched through the dirt wall and sent Choji flying back into a tree. If that's all you got, then I don't need to even use my curse mark, Jirobo cockily said with a smirk. Then you might as well use that curse mark, cause I'm not going down so easily, he said, slowly getting back up and breathing heavily. You know what, I'll humor you, he said as he activated his first stage curse mark, and rows of triangles spread across his body. Choji could feel the amount of power Jirobo was putting off, and he knew this fight was long from being over. This is what you wanted, kid. Don't say I didn't warn you, Jirobo said. Jirobo began an onslaught, punching Choji 3 times in the gut, knocking the wind out of him and making the Akimichi heir fold over, clutching his midsection, and threw up some more. See brat, Only 3 punches and I've already made you double over and puke yourself. He yelled out as he kicks Choji for good measure in the face, breaking his nose and sending him on his back. You're nothing but leaf trash, Jirobo said, looking at the panting, oversized shinobi. Choji slowly moved and pulled out the same container that had the green pill he ate. He popped open the middle slot containing a yellow-colored pill. The yellow curry pill. Choji took it out and put the container away and got ready to pop it in his mouth. Another one of those damned things, huh? Jirobo asked. Yup, so get ready to keep fighting, Choji said, popping the pill, and as soon as he swallowed, visible chakra could be seen coming from Choji as the ground cracked and broke beneath him. The hell is this? It's just like the first pill he ate but more intense. Choji stood up and popped his neck before staring down Jirobo. Choji calmly breathed out and charged at Jirobo faster than he could process, and he felt the back of his head grabbed, and he soon found Choji's knee making a new home in his face. Jirobo stumbled back, holding his nose and crying out, "Son of a bitch!" Jirobo looked at Choji with blood pouring out of his nose and was pissed off. "I'll make certain you die. Bring it." Jirobo wiped the blood from his face and went right back at Choji. "Shoulder charge," he yelled out as he slammed his shoulder into Choji, but he only slid back and wasn't that affected. "Partial expansion jutsu," Choji yelled as he raised his knee up and slammed it into Jirobo's stomach, sending him flying up and knocking the wind out of his lungs. Choji jumped up past Jirobo and expanded his right arm, cocked it back and punched Jirobo square in the spine, and made sure his arm kept expanding as he made sure his fists stay connected to his back and buried his in the ground, creating a small earthquake that the rest of the retrieval team and the Suna support team could feel the ground shake. Retrieval team, ground shaking. The hell was that? Kiba asked. It came from the direction of Choji's fight. Niji said. Yeah. I'm sure he's fine. Keep going, we've almost got up to them, Shikamaru said, trying not to get distracted. He hated the fact that he left his best friend, but he knew he had to for the mission's sake. Suna support team, what was that? Kankuro asked. No clue, Temari replied, but she was still focused on trying to get to Naruto. Let's just keep moving, Gaara said in his monotone voice. Choji versus Jirobo. Choji landed back on the ground and grabbed Jirobo out of the hole and punched Jirobo back into a tree. Choji then gave an onslaught of punches that kept slamming Jirobo through trees and created a path of destruction for a quarter mile, before he gasped out and dropped to a knee, puking his guts out and rolling on his back trying to catch his breath. Damn, I had no idea these pills would do this. Pa's gonna kill me when I get home. For 5 minutes Choji looked at the clouds passing, and it reminded him of all the times he would watch the clouds with Shikamaru on the rooftops back home in Konoha. Shikamaru would like these clouds today. Too bad we had to go on a mission. Choji was finally catching his breath when he felt Jirobo's chakra spike even more than it was earlier. Shit, I can't believe of all fucking people to make me go to my second stage, it was a little snot-nosed brat from the leaf, Jirobo said as his orange hair grew into a mane and his skin turned red. The whites of his eyes became black and his irises became gold. Jirobo came up to Choji and lifted him up by his neck and started at him in disgust. Slamming palm, he yelled out, connecting with Choji's chin, sending him flying in the air and crashing back to the ground, and a bag of chips fell out from Choji, and Jirobo noticed. You know, I still need some chakra to keep up this form, so I think I'm just gonna take some from you, Jirobo said as he walked up to the bag of chips and picked them up as he began stealing Choji's chakra through the ground. Choji could feel himself getting weaker and couldn't understand why. Why do I feel so weak? Like my energy is being sapped. I can't move at all. Is this what it's like to die? Damn, I can't believe I won't be able to try that brand new bag of chips, Choji thought as his vision slowly started turning to black. Jirobo opened the bag of chips and began to eat them and was talking to Choji while he ate them. You know, the reason your friends left you is because you're the weak link. They knew it would be better if they left you behind to die. Why do you think they didn't hesitate to leave your pathetic ass? Because they knew they had a better chance without you. They only picked you to join this stupid mission of yours because they felt guilty about leaving you out. You're nothing but trash in your group of so-called friends, you fat piece of shit, Jirobo said as he got to the last chip. Well, looky here, the last chip. I'm gonna enjoy this for sure, he said, tilting his head back to drop the chip in his mouth, but before he could, he heard a crunch and saw the container that originally had 3 colored pills was now empty. He saw Choji chewing the pill and his eyes grew wide, knowing exactly what he was chewing. Did I hear you correctly? Did you just say you were about to eat the last chip from my brand new bag? That's a brand new flavor that just got released and I've been waiting to eat them, Choji said as he got up, and Jirobo felt the biggest chakra spike he's felt in this fight. What the hell are those pills? Jirobo yelled. Choji's chakra was flowing so much that steam was coming off of him, and the chakra made itself visible in the shape of butterfly wings. Jirobo ate the last chip and Choji's wings grew and wind began picking up. I don't care that you made fun of me. I don't care that you called me fat or that you even ate the last chip from a new bag of chips I was excited to eat. None of that matters. But don't you dare insult my friends. They didn't abandon me. They trusted me to win this fight, and I'm going to. Jirobo tried to move into attack, but Choji easily dodged to the side and expanded his leg and swung his legs and kicked Jirobo in the face, and sent him flying through more trees as a loud boom was heard from the connection of the attack. Stop please. Jirobo begged. I'm sorry. No, you had your chances and you blew it. Choji said coldly. He then channeled all of the chakra in his body to his left fist and prepared for the strongest attack he had. This attack right here is worth my whole life, and it'll take yours. Choji punched Jirobo square in the chest, creating a crater and crushing his heart at the same time. Butterfly bombing. Upon impact, Jirobo died and then reverted back to his normal form. Choji's chakra disappeared and he fell to the ground with a smile on his face. I did it, Shikamaru. I beat Jirobo. You don't have to worry anymore. Choji's eyes slowly closed and a smile was on his face as he saw a butterfly come and land on his hand. Retrieval team. The team had gotten caught in one of Kadamaru's traps, allowing the rest of the Sound 4 to continue their mission. The only exception to getting caught was Naruto, thanks to his shadow clones, making it difficult on Kadamaru to track him down and restrain him. You little, hold still would ya? Kadamaru yelled as he kept shooting webs at Naruto to try and catch him, but it didn't work. Naruto kept moving around too much and using clones to evade the traps, and this gave Neji all the time in the world. As the young Hyuga prodigy was trapped in the webs, he was panicking but slowly calmed down to try and figure a way out to help Naruto, since he was definitely a mismatch for Kadamaru. Alright, just calm down and think. Focus on your chakra and figure out a way to get loose and help Naruto. Slowly his heart rate dropped, and he began focusing the way he needed to and was able to break free from the webs silently and noticed that both Kiba and Shikamaru were still caught up in their own cocoons. He gave a silent and discreet signal to Naruto to let him know to keep it up while he got the others out, and Naruto did just that. He kept being a nuisance to Kadamaru's web attacks, and in no time Neji was able to free the rest of the team, and just in time too, because Naruto's luck had run out at the moment. Kadamaru got a single thin strand of the webbing to connect with the outer wrist bone on Naruto's right arm, and tugged at him to bring him in for the kill. Looks like you're finally at the end of your rope, kid. He yelled. Damn, not like this. Naruto thought. Naruto! Neji yelled out as he cut the web and grabbed Naruto to bring him to the rest of the group. Your webs are chakra-based, which makes them useless against my gentle fist taijutsu. Neji said, standing with the team. Nice job, Neji. Naruto said as he stood next to Neji, and the four-leaf ninja plus Akamaru looked at Kadamaru. Alright, easy 4-on-1, wouldn't you say, Shikamaru? Kiba said, punching one of his fists as Akamaru barked. No, it's up to Neji. I'm useless against his webs with my shadows, and I don't think either you or Naruto would be a good match-up. Neji's taijutsu is the only one that can break these webs. Not even our kunai could cut through. If we stayed here to help Neji, I think we'd only get in his way. As much as I'd hate to keep splitting us up, I think it's really the only way. The Nara heir replied. I'd have to agree with Shikamaru on this one. I can't focus on fighting him if you guys keep getting caught in his webs and can't get out. Just go on ahead of me. Choji will be coming up behind anyways to help, so when he gets here, I'll be done and we'll catch up. Neji replied, still looking at Kadamaru. Well, if Neji says he can handle it, then I believe him. Naruto said seriously. But Naruto, no, Kiba, he's right. If Neji has made up his mind on staying to fight to let us continue the mission, then we need to respect his decision. If we didn't, it would be an insult to him as a ninja. Shikamaru said. Neji, you sure you got this? Shikamaru asked. Yes, I'll be right behind you. We'll get Sasuke back home. Neji said, not looking at his captain. You heard him, let's move. Shikamaru said, taking off with Kiba following right behind him. You better win, Neji. I know you want a rematch. Naruto said before jumping away. Oh no you don't. Get back here! Kadamaru said, shooting his webbing at the three ninja chasing after Sasuke. Neji was quick to intervene and break apart the webbing while landing on a branch. Your fight is with me, not them. If you're so eager to get to them, then you should have no problem getting through me, right? Neji asked. Seems like I have no choice. Kadamaru spat out. Kadamaru started off trying to end the fight quickly by creating multiple webs and shooting them at Neji. Because the attack was so widespread, Neji wasn't able to cut through all of them or evade quick enough and got pinned to a tree. Easy enough. Kadamaru said and shot out a golden-colored web that was hard, but Neji easily escaped in time and looked at Kadamaru before saying, easy enough. Neji then charged and getting close enough to land some hits before getting in his stance. You're in range, gentle fist art. 8 trigrams 64 palms. Neji yelled and connected with Kadamaru's body since he couldn't move from the yellow webbing coming directly from his mouth. Neji thought he connected every hit but was surprised to see the sound ninja still moving, and he jumped back, retreating into the forest to gather himself. This one doesn't seem to be a pushover like the rest of his group. I guess I'll have to take him seriously. Kadamaru used his harder webbing to create arrows and began shooting them at Neji. Even though they were fast, it would be impossible to make a hit with Neji's Byakugan active. Damn, not a single one is connecting, even the ones from what should be blind spots. It's like he can see 360 degrees. Time to kick it up a notch then, he said to himself as he activated his curse seal. The patterns on it were different than Jirobo's, since these were more like vines that curled into itself. Summoning Jutsu. Kadamaru said as a huge black spider with 2 orange stripes appeared on the web above Neji. The huge spider then began birthing out babies the size of basketballs and dropping them on Neji. As they fell, Neji knew he still had one trick up his sleeve that could help him out, something he hasn't shown yet. Rotation. He yelled and began releasing chakra from his body while rotating at an incredible speed to where the spiders just bounced off like nothing at first. But as more kept falling, they soon slowed down his rotation thanks to short strands of webs coming from the babies. Damn, they slowed my rotation. Niji thought. There. Kidamaru mentally yelled as he threw a kunai made from his gold webbing. At the last second, Niji released some chakra from around his shoulder, and it deflected the kunai away from him. Kidamaru wasn't having it though and released a barrage of the same kunai he had attached to webs, and they launched themselves toward Niji, who deflected some away before jumping away and contorting his body to narrowly avoid getting hit with one. Damn, it's like he doesn't have a blind spot, but that can't be it. Everyone has a blind spot and I'll find his. I just need to keep up my attack and wear him out. He'll eventually slip up enough for me to land a good hit. The summon kept birthing more babies than Niji could evade, so he resorted to using a higher form of his gentle fist. 128 palms. He yelled and began slaughtering all the spiders that were falling, but eventually it became too much, and as he tried to rotate there were too many, and he couldn't move and his right shoulder got sliced. Damn it, where did that come from? 8 trigrams 64 pal arg. Niji screamed in agony as a kunai embedded itself in his back. Kidamaru began sickly laughing as he was finally making some headway on this fight. Now let's see how you handle more. Kidamaru yelled, releasing even more kunai to the young Hyuga. Niji was able to dodge them more the most part, but the band hold his hair got sliced, and 2 more kunai found a home in his back. At this point Niji was exhausted from using his gentle fist so much, but he still had a mission to do. He had a promise to keep to his comrades who trust him and consider him a friend. And most importantly, he still had a rematch he so dearly wanted with Naruto. With that in mind, Niji stood up, not accepting defeat as an option. I won't go down, not until I've beaten you, Kidamaru, he said as his knees were ready to give out at any second and he was visibly heaving for air. Damn it, I haven't felt this exhausted since my fight with Naruto back at the Chunin exams. Well kid, you had a good run, but it's time to end this. Kidamaru thought to himself as he plucked a string a certain way that made his summon cry out from above Niji, and it descended upon the young man and crushed him. It began crying out, and Kidamaru didn't know why until he saw what looked like the end of impact points on his summon. Gentle fist, Niji said, hitting the spider as hard as he could until it exploded into nothing but webs, and the first thing he saw was a bunch of Kidamaru's homemade kunai coming right for him. This time 3 more connected with his back, leaving 6 sticking from his back. Seeing him get up again, Kidamaru went ahead and advanced to his second stage curse mark. This kid is something else. He's turning out to be a lot more entertaining than I could have dreamed. I'll have to demonstrate my appreciation. Using his golden webs, he created a bow and arrow that had an insane amount of tension behind it to where the veins in Kidamaru's arms were popping out. Now Dai! He yelled right after launching his arrow right towards Niji's blind spot, and it impacted the ground so hard it created a crater and sent dust and debris back towards Kidamaru. Kidamaru laughed, thinking he finally got him, since his third eyes that appeared on his forehead helps with aiming his arrows. The other noticeable changes were the 2 short horns coming from his forehead. His skin was now a little dark shade of brown than before. His hair was grayer and his teeth sharper, along with points coming from his elbow joints. Niji looked at the crater, just able to avoid getting a killing blow by emanating enough chakra to throw it off go through his left shoulder, leaving a clean entrance and exit wound. Damn, just in time. I can't believe I was able to throw it off without even knowing where it was. Could he know my Byakugan's weakness? He whispered. No. How could I have missed? Niji didn't wait around for answers and began running, or rather staggering to get away while pulling the kunai from his back. This time Kidamaru made a gold arrow with normal web acting as a string attached to the back of it as he aimed the arrow to the prodigy. Gentle fist is useless if you can't get close to me, absolutely useless. He thought, launching the arrow to Niji, who was still running away, as best as he could. Since this arrow had a string attached to it, Kidamaru was able to control where it was going, and Niji tried to dodge by going around a tree, but the arrow went right through it and drew blood before slamming into the ground. Niji's headband got cut off his head and fell to the ground. When looking from the side, all you saw is a string at Niji's head level, but looking head on you see that Niji escaped death by mere centimeters, since he came away with only a cut left cheek. A thread, Niji said as he collapsed and realized why he couldn't see it, and that he got lucky with only a cut on his cheek. Kidamaru was extremely upset that even with a string he didn't kill the boy, but wasn't panicking. He created a new arrow but made the tip a swirling head. This time, even if it hits a tree, it'll slice right through it and find my target. 120% destructive power. Absolute maximum, he thought as he released his arrow, and it traveled at incredible speeds that all Niji could do by the time it got within range was turn around, and the arrow went clean through his guts, through a tree, and planted itself far enough that the force pulled Niji to the very tree it pierced and pinned him. Shit, I've still got one last thing I can do, while I still have chakra flowing through my body. Gentle fist, he said as he grabbed a hold of the string that guided the arrow, and he began letting his chakra flow through all the way back to Kidamaru. The idea worked perfectly as it was a clear path to his enemy, and Kidamaru was paralyzed, temporarily, for taking in foreign chakra, and began to fall from his spot. Once he got control of his head, he bit through the web and prepared to finish the fight. Even with his internal organs severely damaged, He knew all he had to do was win the fight, get back to Lord Orochimaru, and then Kabuto could heal him up. A simple plan, but not every plan is flawless. Neji was thinking back to what Naruto had called him, and what people called Naruto. They called the blonde a failure and screw-up, but everyone praised Neji, calling him a genius. Even Naruto acknowledged that sentiment. With that resolve flowing through him, Neji cut the string and began running. He should be on the floor bleeding out and dying. He shouldn't be running towards danger, but he was. Kidamaru was trying to retreat, but Neji found him and used his gentle fist to make direct contact with his face and sending the sound ninja to the ground, unable to mold chakra. But how? You should be dead with those injuries. My last arrow should have killed you instantly. How? I knew I couldn't completely evade it, so I deliberately prepared myself to take the hit. You're the strongest person I've ever fought. Not long ago, the strongest person I fought at the time said something to me. You can do it too, cause unlike me you're not a failure. Those were his words, and all this time I've been called a genius, so I can't lose. I can't let down those who believe in me. The weakest one in the game always goes down first. Isn't that what you said? Well, look where we are now. Fate isn't something for you to decide. He said, hunching over as Kidamaru was struggling to even sit up. Well, you look like you're creeping on death's door too, kid. Neji reached out for his headband and remembered what his father said to him when he was a child, that the bloodline of the Hyuga flows strongest within him. Maybe so, but I won't die as easily as this. Go ahead and try to stop it, but it's too late. Sasuke left to the sound village of his own free will. Sasuke is in the darkness. Neji thought to himself. You're wrong, Kidamaru. He replied, there's one who can find him in the darkness and still save him from this path. He said, thinking about Naruto. Haha, no. Sasuke belongs to Lord Orochimaru now, kid. I don't care who it is, he can't save. He will. Neji interjected, which surprised Kidamaru a little. So calm and collected during our fight, but just talking about this subject he seems so passionate about his stance. He thought, because Naruto, it was you who saved me from the darkness. Neji said as his fight back in the Chunin exams ran through his head. Neji looked up at the shining sun with a smile before throwing up and hunching back over. Still talking shit right to the end, Harg. Kidamaru said, clutching his stomach with one of his 6 arms and rolling on his side. Kidamaru rolled on his back and realized he hadn't been pushed this far to his limit, not since Kimimaro at least. With that, Kidamaru passed away and Neji laid on the ground and the feather of a bird fell right into his palm. I leave it to you, Naruto. Neji thought as he closed his eyes. With Jiraiya had heard from Tsunade about the mission to get back Sasuke and took off after Naruto in fear that this would be too great a challenge to face. I'm coming, kid, just hang on. He thought as he came to some injured jonin. You guys alright? What happened? He asked. We got ambushed by some sound ninja carrying a coffin of some sort. Thankfully Shizen was here and able to help patch us up. One of them said. Master Jiraiya, is that you? Shizen asked. Yeah, Shizen, are you alright? He asked. Yes, I'm fine, thank you. How come you're all the way out here? Naruto and some of the genin are chasing after Orochimaru's lackeys and Sasuke to bring him back. I'm going after them to make sure nothing happens to Naruto. I need you to come with me when you're done, Shizen. He said. Then let's move, you two head back to the village and report to Lady Tsunade. She ordered. Yes, ma'am. The other two said, nodding their head and leaving for home. After a while they came to the fight scene for Choji and Jirobo, and they checked Jirobo and saw that he was dead. Choji on the other hand was alive but barely. He needed medical attention right away. Shizen, do what you can on him right now and take him home. I'll send a message to Tsunade to prepare for emergency surgery, and I'll make sure Choza knows as well. Go! He ordered, and she nodded as she quickly went to stabilize Choji as best as she could before she lifted him up and noticed how much skinnier he was, then took off for home. As he kept traveling to find anyone else, he saw far off in the distance what looked to be birds fleeing and wondered just what or who was fighting over there. Not too long after that he came upon the final scene of Neji's fight with Kidamaru, and just like before, the genin took down a sound ninja. These kids are tough as hell, but also still need more training. He thought, summoning jutsu. He yelled out and a purple with red accent around the eyes toad popped up. Jiraiya, long time. He greeted. Hey Gamagoro, do you think you can carry Neji here back to Konoha and make sure you find Tsunade and let her know Neji is in the same condition as Choji and needs immediate medical attention? Don't worry about, I got it, boss. The toad said, getting Neji loaded on his back and taking off. Alright, now to find out what the hell those birds were flying from, he said to himself as he once again took off. The sun was starting to move away from its apex position when Jiraiya found Temari with Shikamaru staring at a dead girl with red hair and hundreds of trees cut at the trunks. Someone want to explain to me what happened to the forest? Jiraiya asked. Ask Naruto's wife, she's the one who did this. Shikamaru replied, gesturing to the blonde who had a grin on her face. Remind me to never piss you off. The Sannin said. Don't piss me off or this becomes your crotch. She said with a sickly smile. Yup, I'm good now. So you two okay then? He asked, getting serious. Other than a broken finger, I'm fine. Did you happen to pass by Choji and Neji? I figured they would have caught up by now. He said. I did. Jiraiya started before pausing and looking at the ground. You and Choji are close friends, right? Same with you and Naruto, isn't that right? He asked. Yeah, I'd say those two are my best friends. Shikamaru replied. Choji Akimichi is in critical condition. Seems like he took all 3 of the Akimichi color pills. And you know what it means when the red chili pill is consumed. Incredible power boost, but death is the drawback. Jiraiya said as Shikamaru's eyes grew wide, thinking that he unintentionally sentenced his best friend to death. Relax, Shikamaru. Shizen is on her back to Konoha and probably already made it, and is working on him now. Same goes for Niji. I sent one of my toads with Niji on his back for emergency healing and possibly surgery. Where's everyone else? He continued. Kiba went down the cliff over there. Shikamaru replied. Anyone else went with him? A Sound 4 member did. Don't forget I'm not the only one who's here. Kankuro went in his direction, so he'll be fine. Temari said. Well, let's make sure, and on the way you can tell me how you came away with only a broken finger, Shikamaru. Jiraiya said as they took off, and Shikamaru began retelling his side of the story. Flashback. Shikamaru and Naruto were now the only 2 left since Kiba fell down the cliff into a ravine with the last Sound 4 member. Sasuke has also broken out of the coffin he was in and immediately left for Orochimaru, and Naruto wanted to desperately give chase but knew Shikamaru was going to need some help first before they could pursue. Naruto, hold on. Shikamaru yelled. But Sasuke's getting away, we have to go after him. I get that, but we still need to deal with her. He replied. Then what's the plan, and make it quick, we're running out of time. The blonde impatiently replied. We need to create a diversion. She knows you're the powerhouse fighter, so what we need to do is throw her off. The Nara heir said quietly, never taking his eyes off Tayuya. So what? You want me to pretend like I'm gonna attack her, and then make a break for it? Yeah, just make it convincing. I'll go first and then you follow, got it? He asked. You sure you can handle her on your own? Naruto asked. Honestly, I don't know. Together they're supposed to be on the level of Jonin, but apart from each other they should be weaker in theory. I just hope I got a good matchup. Make sure you get Sasuke or else this whole thing will be for nothing. Shikamaru said. Don't worry about me, Shikamaru, you have bigger problems. Naruto said. You ready? Oh yeah. Naruto replied with a grin. What the hell are they talking about? Should I cast my genjutsu? Or is this just part of their plan to get me to reveal myself? Damn it, I hate this waiting game, but I've got no choice. I just need to stall some time for Sasuke to get to Lord Orochimaru. Fuck this whole thing. Tayuya thought to herself, watching the 2 leaf scum. She was taken out of her thoughts when Shikamaru charged in with a kunai, and all she could do to react was put up her flute to block. Pretty sturdy instrument you got there. He quipped. Shut the hell up, scum. Naruto now. Shikamaru yelled. Shadow Clone Jutsu. He yelled and 20 copies of him popped out from nowhere, and they all charged Tayuya. Some went high up in the trees, other went to the left or right, and some went down low to the ground. But once the real Naruto had made it clear past Tayuya, the others turned to the redhead, smiled, then exploded into smoke. What the hell kind of bullshit attack was that? She yelled out and almost got caught in Shikamaru's shadow possession. Damn, almost had ya there. What the fuck was that? She asked, now getting some distance between herself and Shikamaru. A family jutsu, you wouldn't know of it, so don't worry, a lot of people don't know it. He replied with a smirk. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy tearing your ass to shreds, kid. She gritted out while giving him a hateful look and clenching her jaw. Do you honestly think he can stop Sasuke? I mean, come on, Sasuke left on his own choice. He was given Lord Orochimaru's latest curse mark, and it now has the ability to be upgraded. He stands no chance. She said, looking at the pineapple-haired Chunin. Look at what remains of your team. You've sacrificed 1 member for every fight, every obstacle. You sound pretty stupid to me for a team leader. You're right, we have had to thin out our numbers and do one-on-one fights. I can't say with confidence whether I made the right decision or not. To be honest, this is my first mission as a platoon leader, so go ahead and mock me. But I trust my team to get the job done, and it doesn't matter what you say about Sasuke. He's one of us and we'll die trying to get him back home where he belongs. Shikamaru replied. You talk big, but can you really back it up? Just look at yourself. You're already tired from chasing and fighting to get out of Jirobo's prison. Why go this far for one person? Why sacrifice your men for one measly guy who left on his own? Because I was told something once, by that blonde that passed you, Naruto. He told me something I'll never forget. It's a sentiment my team holds as well. In the ninja world, those who break the rules are scum, but those who would abandon even one of their friends are worse than scum. I don't know how you guys operate in the sound, but I prefer to not be worse than scum. Every one of us will fight till our last breath for someone who's been taken prisoner. TCH. Honestly, I'm just a lazy, cloud-watching oaf, who isn't cut out to be a leader or bark out orders to others, but there is one thing I done pretty damn well for my teammates, that believing them. I don't believe what I did was a sacrifice. I don't believe they're dead, so don't go around insulting people you don't know. He said, have it your way, dumbass. Summoning Jutsu. Tayuya yelled and 3 ogres appeared behind her. Well shit, this can't be good. Shikamaru lazily said to himself, just sit back and relax as I play a melody of death for you. Tayuya said, putting the flute up to her lips, and began playing a certain tune that instantly froze Shikamaru. So this is her melody of death. The ogres behind her began moving and moved into attack at an incredible speed, forcing Shikamaru on the defensive immediately. So that's how she controls them, huh? Before they weren't moving, and then once she began playing her tune they took action. Damn it, these guys are quick. He thought as he was forced back and couldn't an opening to counter.